We'll be starting the background for the pink in a moment. Once I'm done eating my green eggs and ham, or bacon and green eggs, which is basically scrambled eggs but with avocado in them. So if anyone has a suggestion on what it is I should be watching, please let me know so I can put it on. Yeah. Because I was only planning on playing Fable until I was able to eat, and then I was going to switch it up. I finished mine for pink. I didn't get a vote on a colour though, because no one was around. Oh, fair enough. Did you like my yellow? I was very proud of it. I'd never attempted her art style before, so the fact that it turned out so well was amazing to me. I mean, it was my first time attempting that art style, and I'm so proud of it. Like, truly. Well, I guess I'm gonna put the click video on for now, because I need to have something on while I'm eating to cover up the sound of me eating, because this is not an ASMR. I don't stream ASMR because, and here's the big because, I get too excited when people talk to me. No, I get too excited, so I can't have the volumes up high enough for ASMR. So I'd go from doing the talking and that stuff, and then go, hey, and then it's all bad. So I'm gonna put that on for now, turn that off for now. Yeah, I saved the ASMR for like my YouTube channel where I do Dungeons and Dragons story time and stuff. It's quite fun. I just gotta quickly do this. And then back up here again, and you should all be able to hear it now too. Nope.
Them in and got drunk all weekend. Friday night, I came home from work to find someone on our block was having a large party.
I mean, you'll be able to hear me cracking salt
they were
and
entitled
stuff
to
because I have
park
a
in my
salt
driveway. Keep in
grinder
mind,
in
my
front of me.
driveway is a single car width lined with a retaining wall on both sides and a garage at the end. Essentially impossible for a tow truck to come pull them out without property damage. Seeing this and the lack of street parking, I took the cue to park right behind them in my driveway. Now, A few hours go by and the entitled Parker is now knocking at my door demanding I move my car so she can leave. Seeing as they were demanding, I informed them that I had been drinking and could not move my car. The entitled Parker then decides to call the police to get them to force me to move when you have already parked on their property. Oh, I want to see where this is going. When the police knocked at my door, I was sure to grab a beer from the fridge before I answered to talk to the officer. Well, hello there, officer. Are you sure you want me to get into the car? Alrighty-o. I had informed him after that. I got home, I was unwinding and had been drinking and was in no shape to drive. At this point, their hands were tied because they couldn't tow her car out, and I'm in no shape to drive, and I am legally parked in my driveway. I ended up telling the entitled Parker that since it's a long weekend, I would be on a weekend-long bender, and they could come move my car after I got to work on Tuesday.
The absolute entitled audacity to park in someone else's driveway without permission. I would have taken an Uber to work on Tuesday just an extra frick you.
Oh, that is absolutely amazing. So when work comes
that
around,
would
and
work
you told
so
them, hey,
well.
I'm gonna move my car on
So
Tuesday.
many people
You
off.
actually left your car there, so they have to make all of their way back to your house, and they still can't move their car. Frick with my driveway again, will you? Do not tempt me. Dyed my hair blue, so boss would stop blaming me for hair in customers' food. That is really smart. This is so smart.
Well,
I
that's
used to
one
work
way
for a
around
sandwich
it.
shop. All the other employees there were Indian women with very long black hair. Mine was sort of similar, I suppose, medium length and brown. But every time a customer would complain about a long black hair in the food, my boss would immediately blame me without any hesitation or investigation.
How you
despite
doing
the
anyway,
fact that I was
Nico?
the only person who wore their hair up and netted. So one day I dyed my hair blue for the sole purpose of not being blamed for black hair being in the food. You guessed it, it happened. And how huffy and annoyed my boss got when I said it couldn't be my hair because mine is blue was beyond amusing. I do
That's
love
such a
that
Chad
they tried
move
to
right
go to the
there.
still- I mean, if I read between the lines, that feels like what it is. And they're like, there was more hair in the food. And it's like, it's literally not mine. Wrong color there, good sir. A bit colorblind, maybe. As I am, oh yes, indeed. This hair is gray. Sir, that's blue. Ah. I need to do another stream where I take colorblind tests. I need to try those like colorblind glasses, and then I can make one of those super dramatic videos where I look at a sunset and be like, oh, is this really what colors look like? And I cry a little bit, and everyone in the comments will be like, wow.
I did a colorblind
so
test.
beautiful.
And it said that I had
Hell yeah, I
like
should
4
do
cones
this.
instead
A
of the usual
stranger
3.
tells me, smile, it could be worse. Instantly regrets it. Last week, I was out and about, making a start on some errands I had. As I was walking, I was going through my long to-do list in my head. So I wasn't frowning, I wasn't smiling, my face was just neutral. A man starts heading towards me. As we pass, he tells me, smile, it could be worse. I stop, stare at him for a moment, and then I say, my parents were in an accident. My mom died on impact. We're turning off my dad's life support tomorrow. The guy looked like a robot being suddenly shut down. His face fell. He looked like a deer in headlights. He stuttered and stammered. He was obviously trying to think of something to say, and when he couldn't, he turned around and speed walked away. My parents are both fine, there was no accident, but it annoys me when people think they have the right to dictate how people are feeling and what expressions they make,
That's
especially when they don't know what is going on in their lives.
I think
it's
it's
unhelpful and
Sevathon's still
patronizing.
going strong.
Imagine
Really?
telling somebody who could just be given a terminal diagnosis,
Smile.
I don't know how you
could
do
be
it every
worse.
day. I mean, I love
or somebody
streaming,
who's just
but
lost a
after
child,
doing it that
been laid
much,
off,
wouldn't
or
it
is otherwise
become a
struggling
bit of
in
a
a
chore?
terrible situation. Yeah, and I'm also not gonna just walk down the street smiling for no reason. Can you imagine how creepy and unsettling that is? Imagine meeting someone just going home from the grocery store and just like, I'm gonna go buy milk. Hello, fellow pedestrian. I think that would be more concerning. Like, fam, I think part about happiness and smiling and that kind of stuff is because of the contrast in life. Not every moment in your life is going to be
32
like
days long.
blissful that will justify a smile. I mean, sure, a
77
positive outlook
hours
on life
left.
helps sometimes,
Wow.
don't get me wrong, but like expecting everyone to smile all the time when just doing mundane everyday tasks is a bit like, damn, no, my laundry is not that exciting. I'm not gonna giggle with excitement
today
when folding
was
my underwear.
A dead
You should
day.
smile
I'm trying.
more.
A day
How about
or
I feed
two
you the
off
sock?
before jumping
One
back
to
in.
block my
That's fair.
driveway, officer. It's gonna be another minute
You
or two
gotta
on
have a
coffee.
break sometime,
About a
otherwise
decade
your
ago,
mental
I
health
worked
is
an
important.
early morning shift at a fast
gotta
food
take care of
restaurant.
yourself.
We opened at 6 a.m., so I had to be at work at 5 a.m. I would leave my house at about 4:45 a.m. every morning. My management was pretty relaxed about the opening shift. Clocking in up to 10 minutes late wasn't really an ordeal, as long as you showed up ready to go. I came outside 4:45 and find that the local police police officer had pulled over someone and is now blocking my driveway. This has happened before, but normally in the afternoon, and normally I just ask the officer to move forward or back a couple of feet and then I pull in or out of the driveway. No sweat. This officer, however, angrily informs me that I will have to wait until he's done. I snap a picture of his car, text it to my manager, and explain my tardiness. 40 minutes later, the police officer finally moves. A bit of a slow writer, aren't we? 40 minutes to write a note? God damn. I scramble into the car and head to work. I get there 15 minutes before we open. I frantically start to brew tea, fetch ice, having to condense my 50-minute routine into 15. I almost forgot to brew coffee. Opening time rolls around, and the first group of customers come in. It's a group of our local police officers, led by the captain. I guess they're about to do a shift change. One of the officers in the group is the one who blocked my driveway. Anyway, the captain orders coffee, and I regretfully inform him that there's a 5-minute wait on coffee because I got to work extremely late. Captain asks why, so I pulled out my phone and explained that this one of his officers blocked my driveway for 45 minutes for a routine traffic stop. Captain proceeds to chew out that officer in front of all of his colleagues and exclaims that nothing short of life or death emergency would block my driveway if it will interfere with him getting his morning coffee. It was never blocked again, and the captain always got his coffee at 6 a.m. without interruption, and everyone lived happily ever after. This is so
What
beautiful.
the hell?
This is the kind of stuff that almost feels scripted because it's so perfect. And I mean, sure, some stories like this could very much be fake, but considering how big the world is and how many people are out there, most of these things would probably happen sooner or later to someone, it's just statistics. If the number closes in on infinity, everything will happen sooner or later, even the juiciest, unlikeliest of stories. Yum. Ruin my wedding to propose? I will ruin your proposal. I, 35 male, have a younger
fair.
brother, Todd, 29M, who had a complicated birth and had to stay a month in the ICU, and because of that, my parents have always doted on him and almost denied him nothing, even if it was to the detriment of my sister, Abby, 32F, and I. My brother drinks in on the attention and has on more than one occasion made himself the center of attention at either my sister's, or cousin's special event. Because of this, Abby and I have a strained relationship with Todd and our parents. Unfortunately, Todd met and fell in love with Lucy, 24F, who announced her own pregnancy at the baby shower my mom held for Abby.
What?
Out of all the days, couldn't have picked a different... No, you had to... all right.
That's pretty
There
shitty.
can be 2 special days. You don't have to force your special day into someone else's. It's okay.
Thank you for the follow, Karen! I really do appreciate
When I
the
proposed to my wife,
follow.
Michelle, 30F, I just
Thank
wanted to
you.
elope, but she really wanted her family to be there, so I invited my family out of obligation. While out, my best man, Jim, 30M, noticed a receipt from a jewelry store slipped out of Todd's pocket. Jim confronted Todd about this, which led to an argument. Jim told me everything, and I told Todd that he was no longer going to be a groomsman because I knew he was going to propose at my wedding. Todd cried to our parents, which led to a blowout. Oh, that is so typical, like the young sibling goes and cries because of entitlement. Don't propose on other people's weddings unless you have the clear from the people who are having the wedding. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
In my parents' eyes, since Todd never admitted that he was going to propose to Lucy at my wedding, I was unfairly judging him. I refused and brought up Todd's past behavior. My parents couldn't refute this and got Todd to agree to not try anything at my wedding. This wasn't enough to convince me to let him be a groomsman, but I warned him that if, as a guest, he would try anything, I would make him regret it. Fast forward to the wedding, and surprise, surprise, Todd walked over to Lucy and proposed to her during Michelle's father-daughter dance, and did it in a way so everyone would notice. It's not even in like a sneaky classy way. One thing if
That
you
is
do it at
such
the
a
end of the
prick
wedding,
thing
as
to
a couple
do.
of comments here pointed out, that like, if you do it at the end, there's only family left, you do a little cute little thing, sure, that's fine. But during the dance,
You
you
got
might
a
as well
white
do it
boy
when
on
the priest is like saying
your
do you
roster,
take him to lawfully wed him?
and
Oh,
he'd be
no,
feeding
will you marry me?
pasta
It's
to
like,
a lobster?
worst moment, or at least second worst moment.
Nuts.
Cue my revenge. Jim and I had hired a woman to pretend to be Todd's side piece, who cornered Todd and Lucy and claimed that she was pregnant with his baby. Todd denied this, but when she called his phone, oh my god, I gave her his number and messed with Todd's phone to incriminate him. It didn't look good. So you even rigged the phone numbers and contacts. Oh, this is devious. Lucy threw the ring back at Todd and left in tears. I kind of feel bad for Lucy, though. Like, she's just kind of caught in the crossfire by this, like, super immature 29-year-old and what all the stuff he does to his family. That is, aw, poor Lucy, man. When Todd saw the smile on my face, he knew that it was me, and I didn't respond to a single call or text from him or my parents until after the honeymoon. Lucy has thrown Todd's stuff out and has been denying access to their kid. Oh my god, Todd is furious and is demanding that I clear his name. I sent him a text saying that I had no idea what he was talking about, as well as a screenshot of a bill of the wedding, and gave a vague message demanding reimbursements for half of the wedding costs. Michelle knew the whole time that what I was planning and gave me the green light after Todd ruined her moment with her dad. So I felt pretty good, but now even Abby thinks I went too far. Ooh, no! During the father-daughter dance? That's insane. I love what you did. Maybe time to go no contact instead of low contact. You have your new family now. I can't believe the audacity. It would be one thing if he wanted to wait until the party was dying down and it was just family and a few friends left to do it with his brother's blessing.
That makes sense.
But against his wishes, during one of the most intimate moments of the reception, he is a douche. I also like how they actually talk to him beforehand and be like, don't do this. And he was like, fine. And then they do set up a contingency plan and he still does it. And of course it backfires. Oh my god. I mean, the revenge is really juicy. It's like basically relationship ruining revenge. That's pretty deep, but at the same time is also a douche. I don't know. It's like, it's a satisfying story, but my god, I would not want to be there. My dad, trans, has discovered how to beat transphobes in the South. We're currently in the South visiting family. When we were at a restaurant, my dad, FTM, had to go to the bathroom. I am still not entirely sure how, but a guy in there determined that he was trans and went shouting to the barman to kick my dad out. My dad, instead of trying to win that argument in a bar full of Southerners, decided to go the complete other direction. He channeled his inner Southern righteous fury and went off on that man for accusing him of being a transgender, demanding he be kicked out, and called the guy an agent of Satan. Long story short, it worked. Got the other guy and his family kicked out and got a free beer in for his troubles.
Oh, what?
I should mention that my dad has been trans for 45 years and this is the most passing person you have ever met. That's why I say I'm not sure how, unless the guy straight up looked over the stall door. There is no way to tell. That is absolutely wild. I do love the sweet revenge, though. I do love the sweet revenge. Just like transphobic person trying to get people kicked out for no good reason. It's being hippity-hoppity, now it's your evening that's ruining this property. I mean, it's still sad that this is the norm, that, you know, people get kicked out for that reason. And he got kicked out for, like, accusing someone of being trans. It does show how sad it is and how many bad values there are out there regarding these topics. But at the same time, if we just zoom in on this one instance, it's still quite satisfying. How does that boot in your butt feel now? My ex cheated, so I refunded a gift and now she is livid. My ex broke up with me just about a year into us dating. In hindsight, she was awful, but I was blind to it all. She broke up with me over the phone, which seemed a little informal. Informal! Yeah, that's one way of putting it. From all the time we spent together. Fast forward a week after that, several individuals connected to her, but not to each other, confirmed she was in fact seeing another man. I didn't confront her about it because I realized that things just don't work out sometimes. And at that point, I suppose you already parted ways. Even if she was cheating, it's like, alright, good riddance. It's another reason to not look back at that absolute train wreck. It was just the way she went about it that irked me. I am old enough, late 30s, to accept that people are just buttholes. But I also felt like she was getting away with something without feeling even a bit of remorse. The breakup was only contact. No calls or text occurred after that over a year ago. I remember for Christmas that I bought her, well, us, a really expensive couples massage spa package. Because she would always say how she wanted to do something like that. I had purchased some big package from a local place that costed roughly $600. I obviously didn't have the certificate with me. I decided to go to the spa and make up a story how I lost the certificate. I showed them the receipt, always keep those, and show them my credit card charge. They wound up reissuing me a gift card and canceling the other. That was over a year ago and frankly I forgot about it. Today I get a call from her. First contact in a year since breaking up, and she is screaming at me over the phone that the gift certificate is no good and the spa place accused her of stealing, and what a POS I was for reporting it as such. I called the guy who told her it was reported stolen. I just politely explained I didn't think she was deserving of it, and if she really wanted to, she could just have Mark, dude she was banging, oh, don't soil my good name, God, pay for a new one. I then hung up. Gonna make an appointment to use that card with my new GF soon. Mission accomplished. Oh, that is a little bit of sweet karma. That's a bit of sweet karma. But how entitled can you be to call your ex after a year, after a bad breakup, when you both cheated and broke up over the phone? And be like, that gift card you got me over a year ago is not valid. The freaking audacity of some people, man. I swear to God. Here is a comment with a similar story.
That's
Not the
perfect.
abusive ex.
It really
realized
is
I still
perfect.
had the big membership store card in my name. I've been paying for it for a while and they never said a word, just kept using it without a peep. I knew they were using it because when I asked customer service at the membership store, they could see all the transactions they had made. So I canceled it and had them dropped, with a new card issued for me only. 30 minutes later, my phone starts blowing up. Turns out the ex was at the membership store while I was canceling the card. I just laughed and laughed, told them to get their own. Still gives me anxiety when I think about it. Black eyes and broken nose will never be forgotten. Oh, the associations with like bad previous relationships is, I don't know, it's like a instinctual gut feeling that is so hard to shake. I wish you the best in your recovery, but that is some sweet piece of karma right there. And also speaks about the gross entitlement. Like, really? You were actually using someone else's money without telling them, and then you get mad when you can no longer do it? You should have just shut up and be grateful you were even able to use it for as long as you did. Come on. My boyfriend looked up spoilers to our favorite video game, so I did too. My boyfriend and I play Zelda Breath of the Wild together. I am a take your time and enjoy the ride kind of gal, while he is a let's look up how to beat this game right now kind of guy. Because his way ruins all the fun, we came up with a rule. No looking up spoilers. We were looking for a particular challenge, the 8 heroine side quest for my fellow Zelda nerds, for a very long time. Suddenly, my boyfriend says, I did something bad. I looked up where to go. I'm so sorry, I just couldn't take it anymore. I told him it was fine, but he could not tell me what he had seen. He agreed. I then excused myself to the bathroom and looked up the location as well. I then spent the next hour and a half wandering so close to the location without ever making it there. I could see him squirming around in his seat every time I got close. When I jumped off the cliff the statue was built into, gliding down to the base of the statue and continuing on without turning around to look at it, I thought he was going to explode. He was clenching his hair in both fists and biting his lower lip trying to contain himself. That's when I caved and told him what I had done. He thought it was hilarious and told me about I wanted more than anything to yell, "Turn around! What are you doing?" We had a good laugh about it. He hasn't looked up a spoiler since. This is the kind of wholesome petty revenge we all needed to see today. That is so good. This is some real proper couple goals. I love this. You keep spoiling things for me? Well, I'm gonna troll you when I already know it, but I will purposefully make it difficult. Oh yes, indeed, my love. I love this. This post is so more wholesome than all the other stuff here. I took away all the towel seat reservation at the resort. I was on holidays in an all-inclusive resort. First day, we couldn't find any lounge chairs by the beach by the sea. Fair enough, we arrived in the afternoon. Next day, we go to find a spot, but most of the spots were taken by towels. We find an empty seat, and to our surprise, most of the chairs stay reserved almost a whole day or never gets used. Third day, we decide to take some towels off 2 loungers and enjoy our day. 4 hours in, an older couple shows up that they had towels there and kick us off with help from an attendant. That pissed me off. So every following day I went to take the towels off every unattended lounger after breakfast, and then went to watch the chaos from my balcony. Many people complained, and by the end of the week there was a sign that unattended towels would be removed. Success! I hate stuff like that. We had a rule back in uni, whenever we had sleepover things, in like a party cabin we had and that kind of stuff, that man paxar med kroppen, meaning that you claim your place with your body. You can't just put the bag there and then party until 6 a.m. while no one else gets to sleep in that bed. It's like if you want the bed, the best way to secure it is to go to bed. I think that's a pretty good rule in general. My mother is a butthole and I have been collecting dirt on her for years. So my dear old mother has been my personal hell for as long as I can remember. Starting from threatening to hit me with a bottle to trying to break down my door while screaming obscenities at me, to actually hitting me over the head with an umbrella and yelling at me when I cried. I was 11, by the way. She blamed me for my sister's divorce. I was 6 at the time it happened for years. How is that possibly connected? I mean, the whole thing about blaming a kid for a divorce in the first place, but this is so out there. You little 6-year-old who's barely seen anything of the world, you're probably responsible for this divorce. That's not even this family divorce. Seems legit. Left for 3 months without a warning, then acted entitled to my forgiveness when she came back. Throwing things at me, broke 3 TVs, and called me a myriad of names ranging from mild things to useless waste of space to an actual curse/punishment. The worst thing is that she acts like she's the best mom in existence around other people, complimenting me and stuff, and I can't have a support system because no one would believe me when I say she is awful. Ooh, she's like one of those r/insane parents people. When they're awful behind the scenes, but then on Facebook they post these little cute, colorful squares where it's like,
I am the best parent ever, and I believe your kids always come first. And
but then behind the scenes they're like the most abusive pile of garbage you've ever seen.
Yeah, I think social media brings a lot of that out. Isn't it great?
But I had an ace up my sleeve I kept for 2 years now. I secretly took videos and audios of every horrible moment and kept them in a safe folder. I had moments like the ones mentioned above and lots more of her talking poo about neighbors, friends, her own eldest child behind their back. Tonight, I'm packing for uni. By morning, the whole folder will reach multiple people, including my half-siblings, aunts, uncles, neighbors, her besties, etc. Bad luck and worst day, mother. You always said justice is better served cold. Honestly, that just sounds like sweet karma, though. And it sounds like they're being nasty to everyone. It's just with you, they can get away with it so direct because you were a kid and they actually had control of your life. That's why I always think it's important to talk about these kind of things, because especially in parental situations, people who are abusive, it gets so freaking bad. It's so bad. So go for it. That sounds like sweet, sweet karma. Before you do that, I would also recommend to make sure you have your own birth certificate, SS card, if in the US, and any other documents or sentimental items with you out of the house. Lock down your credit too. Yeah, that's good. Good, defend it. Because people like this, they tend to go swinging whenever you do anything to kind of get back at them or even defend yourself. You know, they see anything as antagonistic. That's how abusers work, sadly. So defend yourself, then hit the red button, and go live your life somewhere else with people who appreciate you. Best of luck. Guess what happens when you write up your best employee after he came in to help on his day off? Not my story, but recently happened to a friend of mine. Personal details omitted, obviously. My buddy Steve has worked at a small business for over 10 years. Most of his time there has been pretty alright, but recently has become a remarkably worse place to work. Steve is the most senior employee outside of management, and by far the most productive. He's always training new hires, working extra hours, helping out the departments, you name it. And pretty often, Steve will come in for a couple of hours on his day off to take care of backed up paperwork and general housekeeping of his department. This does wonders for keeping the department running smoothly, especially when they are busy. Management knows about this and approves. Going into the holidays this year, they are absolutely slammed as usual. Orders are backing up and it's all hands on deck, extra hours, full tilt. After another 60-hour work week, Steve has a couple of days off. On his second day off, he decides to go into work for a few hours. He knows his coworkers are likely too busy to be taking care of the side stuff, so he's being a team player and helping out. While he's finishing up and about to leave, Steve's manager comes up to him and they have the following conversation. "Hey Steve, quit messing around. Get back in there and do your job." Steve replies, "Hey manager, sorry, it's my day off. I'm not scheduled to work this shift. I'm just helping out, leaving in like 5 minutes." Manager replies, "The heck you are! Get your butt out there." Steve says, "Nope, not happening. I am going home." The next day, Steve is predictably brought into the office, dressed down and written up for insubordination. But there's a few things about Steve that you should know, that his employers knew but either forgot or didn't care about. 1. Steve has been getting fed up with his employer for a while. 2. Steve is quite financially stable, as he works in a high-demand industry and his wife also has a fantastic, well-paying job. 3. Steve is about to become a dad. In fact, he's very, very close to becoming a dad, right after the holidays most likely. So, Steve is in the manager's office, just finished getting talked down to, and handed his write-up to sign. Steve signs his write-up and hands it back, along with an envelope with a short letter inside. "What's this?" manager asks. "My 2 weeks' notice." Cue the backpedaling. Manager is apologetic, asks for Steve to at least finish the holiday rush. Big boss comes in and offers a raise if he stays, the whole shebang. Steve turns it all down. Now, Steve's former employer has to get through the holidays without their most reliable worker, which will take at least 2 or 3 new hires to cover. Meanwhile, Steve can enjoy the holidays without stress, help prepare for the arrival of the baby, and start looking for a job again when they're good and ready to go. Edit, obligatory, "Wow, this post blew up" reaction. That is so beautiful. Oh my god, that's like the dream everyone has after having a bad work experience. Just be like, "No, okay, I got written up. Here's my letter, by the way."
Bye!
One advice I always try to give people, which sometimes in the current housing market and stuff is easier said than done, but having like a frick off capital is so valuable. Having like some money saved up so you know that like you're fine on rent and stuff for a couple of months, even if you quit today, is so valuable. And it also makes you more confident because you have that in the back of your head that, I can actually walk, I don't have to take an infinite amount of poo if I don't want to. I caught my partner cheating, so I covered his whole house in glitter. That is literally it. I caught him cheating by looking through his trash, literally, lol, emails and found some pretty graphic emails from the other woman. Confirmed that he was with her the day through his Google Maps tracking. So I got every bit of loose glitter I owned and went to his house and scattered it. In his bed, his couch, his chairs, his toilet, clothes, his iron flap top, Steve. I know I'll be okay and I'm going to heal, but guess who probably won't ever be able to fully get rid of all the glitter? I swear to God, I had a party like 10 years ago, a New Year's Eve party with a decent amount of glitter, and I kept finding glitter pieces for a good 4 or 5 years after the party, even in my frickin' oven somehow. And that wasn't maliciously spread or something, it was just like sprinkled on tables and stuff to make it look fancy. Imagine for how long you'll be digging up glitter from every crevice in your house when it's actually maliciously placed. That is beautiful. Oh my God. I got revenge on my bully. In school, I was relentlessly bullied. 2 girls in particular had it out for me. I was shy, loved to read, didn't do the popular stuff, so I was the perfect victim. They would literally torture me by holding me down the staircase when we were alone and sticking pinboard pins into my arms, legs, and feet. When I tried to tell teachers, they said I fell onto them as they were lying on the floor or I did it to myself. It didn't help that one of them was the daughter of one of the teachers at the school. That is like such a freaking stereotypical bully thing where they feel so confident in it because they know they have some bullshit parent that will always like bail them out. I hate that. Well, I finally got my revenge. I went to try out a new ice cream shop and lo and behold, one of the girls was serving the ice cream. I have multiple allergies, including milk and gluten, of which the ice cream shop claims to be cautious. So I ordered gluten and dairy-free ice cream and set my phone camera up to film the area where the ice cream was being prepared because I saw that the girl had recognized me and was certain she would try something. And she did. I caught her on camera putting a spoonful of milk in the bottom of the bowl and crumbling the gluten-consisting wafers over everything, then camouflaged it with the last scoop of ice cream. She put it down in front of me and said, "I hope you enjoy it."
That's
I
fucked
sweetly
up.
smiled at her and asked if she could get the owner of the shop, because I wanted to thank her for being so welcoming to guests with allergies. You can guess what happened next. I showed the owner the video and told her that I would like to press charges, because in my country it is considered a criminal offense called inflicting bodily harm to serve someone an allergen when you know the person is allergic. The bully will never work anywhere where she will come in contact with food again, and she will have this on her criminal record for years.
They do say revenge is a dish best served cold.
Oh, that's beautiful. Some good old puns always make me proud. Bullies are sometimes really freaking stupid, which might be a good thing because they always push a little bit too far and then they get into territories like this, where it's literally illegal and you can just squish them real nice. That is some sweet karma. I hate bullies. They're the worst. Your friends won't stop parking in my driveway? Congrats! Your parents know you vape at 16. My neighbors have a teenage son whose friends keep parking in my driveway. I went to check my mail last week and saw them all out in front and decided to nicely bring up, which was met with eye rolls and fake, okay. Monday comes around and I come home to find 3 of his friends' cars taking all the space I have to park. It was a 14-hour day for me, so I wasn't having it and made my second approach with the intention to make myself very clear instead of make it the neighbor's son's problem. Tonight I get home and it's happened again. I went next door and an adult finally answered. I brought up the cars at my place and added a side note their kid never expected. He was also throwing his disposable vapes in my yard and I have the other neighbor as a witness. So I casually asked him to make sure that stops, and the instant change in expression told me everything I needed to know after I walked away, shortly after his friends left, and I can assume they won't be back for a while. Happy spring break, kid. Well, that is some sweet petty revenge. Frick around and find out, bish. Refuse to give the gift you promised my daughter? Fine, I'll take away the gift I got for you. This year I got a new job that has been paying me very well. Therefore, for this Christmas I decided to splurge on everyone. In particular, I spent a lot of money on my 9-year-old daughter and she deserves it 100%. She has been pushing herself in school, helping around in the house without being asked, and always being the kindest soul you'll ever meet. However, when my mother-in-law came early in the morning and saw how the gifts under our tree were much more than usual, she asked why. I told her I bought everyone a bunch of gifts, including her. She then proceeded to ask how much gifts I got my daughter and told her about 3 big gifts and 3 mini ones. Apparently, this outraged her because she started saying that a 9-year-old did not deserve that many gifts, and she would be taking away the gift she brought my daughter so my daughter wouldn't be too spoiled. What? Christmas? 6 gifts on Christmas as a 9-year-old. What? That's pretty normal. What are you talking about? I mean, sure, 6 gifts from like your parents alone might be a decent chunk, but it's not like the child is gonna be spoiled rotten. It's 1 day a year. I told her that was unfair, especially since my mother-in-law promised my daughter a doll for Christmas and my daughter was looking forward to it. My mother-in-law said let it be a lesson to my daughter that in life she can't get all the things she asks for. I mean, you can give her that lesson at any point though. You know, when you're just walking through a store and she points at stuff and you'd be like, you can't have everything, darling. And that's it. You don't have to sour Christmas and be like all passive-aggressive about it. Look, I understand that, but it's not like I shower my daughter in gifts every day. And if anything, Christmas is the day you're supposed to spoil your children. But my wife told me to let it go, and it was her mother's gift, and therefore she could do anything she wanted with it, and her mother agreed, saying it was her right. And if we were going to play with that ideology, then so be it. I decided to remove the $600 designer bag I got my mother-in-law, the thing I knew she wanted the most, and gave her a $40 robe instead. Once my mother-in-law opened her present, she was disappointed, asking if that was all from me, because everyone else got increasingly more expensive gifts from me. And I said yes and apologized if I disappointed her, but we can't always get the gifts we hoped for. This left both her and my wife extremely furious. But hey, the mother-in-law got enough gifts, I wouldn't want to spoil her. This is so petty. I love it. X lies during divorce to have me jailed, and
Oh my god, that was a thing of beauty. You don't fuck with a kid's Christmas when the kid has done nothing wrong. I mean, damn. That mother-in-law deserved it. Especially to expect something so expensive. I mean, damn. But yeah, I'm really thirsty and I need a drink and I need to go pee and stuff. So I'll be right back. And yeah, sorry about the timing, guys, but I will be as quick as I can. Back in a jiffy. I hope you don't miss me. I know, right, Neko? He fucking deserved it. She did. It was great. Yeah. But I will return as quick as I can. I have returned. I hope I wasn't away too long. What you breathing fire for, Neko?
Instead, he is left with remorse. I came across the sub today and thought I have the perfect story to add. I was getting divorced in the early 90s. My ex was pissed that I was divorcing him. I owned the house prior to the marriage, so he moved out. But he broke back in and tore up all kinds of things. Tore up my jewelry, my clothes, he cut holes in all of them, etc. I couldn't prove it, but of course it was him. When we went to divorce court, he gave the judge a 2-page list of things that he supposedly brought to the house with him prior to marriage that I refused to return. My attorney showed me the list, and it was stuff that he never owned in the first place. He totally wanted me thrown in jail for contempt of court. My alternative ways to pay like $2,000, and I wasn't about to do that. I opted for jail, but my friends kept telling me to just pay it. I refused. 2 days before I was appearing in court, a girlfriend of mine asked if she could see the list. Sure. She noted that things he said were there didn't give much, if any, of a description. For example, he says there's a gun. He didn't say what kind of gun. He said there was a computer, and he didn't say what kind of computer, and so on. Her point was, if I went around and bought everything on the list, it would probably cost me about $200, and that was worth staying out of jail. I agreed, knowing it would also be worth him being livid that his plans didn't work. So I made a game of it. I went around to pawn shops and resale stores and told whoever was in charge there I was on a scavenger hunt, and I briefly explained what was going on. They all loved the idea and helped me get through my list rather quickly. Here are some of the lovely examples of what was boxed up for him. Gun, an old rusty cap gun screwdriver set, same old and rusty clothing. Goodwill horrid stuff, bust's last statue, made one myself from clay knives. Old and rusty camping gear, an old pan, matches and a tiny tarp, and one of my favorites that I remember was, he said he had a Monopoly game, so I sent him a Goodwill find without any of the pieces, just the board. I wish I could remember everything we got, it was so much fun, and when we got home, we had to videotape boxing them all up and going to the items one by one. My attorney told the judge that I had found in the attic and just hadn't seen it before, so sorry. The judge told my attorney to simply drop the box off at his attorney's office, and the divorce was final. My only regret is not being able to see his face when he opened up the box of garbage, and there was nothing he could say because he made the stuff up in the first place. It's been 30 years, and I still get joy thinking about it. That is so sweet. It's kind of like that story, be careful what you wish for. Oh, you demand all this stuff? Well, let me fill it up with garbage for you. I love this, and I love your friend that they came up with the idea. That's a good friend. That's a keeper. They're also smart. I found out my husband and dearest friend were having an affair. My ex-husband and I met when our best friends married each other. He was the best man and I was the maid of honor. After a couple of years, we all lived in the same community and had our 4 children in the same time frame. We hired my friend, let's call her Hobag, to be our attorney for our business when we thought about selling franchises. Hobag and my ex, let's call him Dog, spent lots of late nights working out the kinks and contracts, and more. One July, they had to go to New York for a week to interview prospective franchises. Her ex-husband called me to say he'd hired a detective who followed them and saw them all lovey-dovey, and that they only had 1 hotel room. Well, since it was July and sizzling, her front right minivan window was open about 2 inches. I took it upon myself to puree a few raw shrimp with chicken broth and strain the solids out. Oh my god! I then fed a long tube down to her rear passenger carpet and under the seat as best as I could. I didn't choose the front seat because it had removable mats. I then slowly funneled about 1/2 cup of my potion down the tube. That tube was over 90 degrees every day. It was ghastly. A triumph! Her husband and I didn't let on that we knew about the affair until we'd all had consultations with every good lawyer in our city and had our financial ducks in a row. Pretty effective revenge, I don't regret. And I think someone in the comments also mentioned that since they had consultations with every good lawyer in the city, it also means that the other ex-husband and ex-wife can't have consultations with the same lawyers, even if it's only a consultation, because it means that it's conflicting interests. So that is like extra devious. My significant other was running a double life. Oh, this is the perfect place for this little story. My significant other had a double life. He had a girlfriend that thought she was in a full-blown relationship when he practically lived with me. She thought I was getting in the way of their love story, so she contacted me to give me the what's up. For context, I knew nothing about her. Unfortunately, she was the side chick who believed that coming to his place for 1-2 hours once a week to give him naughty favors was a legit relationship.
Wait, what?
When she contacted me to try tried to tell me to stay away from her mans. I called him, and he freaked out. I told him it's either her or me. He cried and pleaded and told me he can't live without me. I made him dump her on the phone in front of me. Then I turned around and dumped him. That was 100% always my plan. Lol.
That's so sweet. Oh, I love that.
Mwah.
Oh my god.
That
that's
is
beautiful.
chef's kiss.
Well, ladies, lasses, and lasses, I do hope
Chef's
you enjoy these
kiss.
fascinating petty stories as much as I do. If you have a bully or someone in your life, make sure it gives you some inspiration. Like, for example, stealing every other sock out of someone's sock drawer. Ooh, the devious vengeance. And I
That
hope to
wouldn't
see
stop
you
me.
in the very near future. Take care, you.
I always wear on socks of opposing colours, and I do it with pride. So, does anyone here have a video that they might like for me to react to? I might have something. Itchy powder? Yeah, itchy powder would work. I am no good when I'm itchy. When I'm itchy, I can't help but scratch, which is really bad. When a lot of the time, in order to get the itchy, like the worst place for the itchy to be would be like if they put it on the bra strap, like the back bra strap where the catch is, because I have so much trouble getting my hands back there that I would be in so much trouble. When I'm itchy, I'm bitchy. Exactly, me too! But in trying to reach back there at that point in my back, I end up hurting myself because of my belly pain, and it ends up making everything so much worse. So it's kind of poetic. Yeah, that'd be the worst spot to get any itching powder or what have you, because I hurt myself just trying to fix it, and it'd be a cycle of badness, just constant badness over and over and over again. But yeah, for those of you who may not know who I am, hi, hello, I am Pyra Z. At the moment, I am trying to find something for me to react to, or something for me to watch, whether it be given to me by you guys or whether I do it myself. And yeah, if you guys feel like you're enjoying it, please follow, or maybe even give me a subscribe if you're sick of getting the ads. But yeah, right now, just gotta find something to watch and react to. So if anyone has any suggestions, please, 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 help a girl out. Maybe I have something in watch later. Nope. Scary TikToks could work, or anything else. Toss a coin to your richer, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty. Whoa. Maybe I'll have something in subscriptions to watch. That could work.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh no, honey, you can never speak again. If you do, something bad will happen. Do you understand?
Are you sure you understand?
Hey Giselle, my rule isn't too bad. All I have to do is never eat broccoli again. What's yours? You can't speak? I think that's the worst one anyone's ever gotten. Don't worry though, I'll help you. Come on, let's go. Giselle, can you give me the answer to number 8? If you don't answer me, that's a detention. Mr. Fitz, wait. Her rule is she can't speak. Oh, my apologies. Go back to work then. Honey, you're back. How was your day? Not good? Do you want to talk about it? Oh, sweetie, I forgot. I'm so sorry. Hey, you're the girl that can't speak, right? How did I know? Well, 'cause I had that same rule. I can help you get rid of your schools. Come on, it has to be A class. That's what my whole family has. B class? I have to put this on private. Hey Mom. Giselle, you got A class, right? Yeah, I got A class. Why is it on private? Oh, I just put it on private because I didn't want the other kids to feel bad. Aw, that's my girl. Have fun at school. Hey guys! Giselle, you got A class, right? We can't be friends with you if you got B. Yeah, of course I got A. Why aren't you showing it off then? I just didn't want anyone else to feel bad. You know, B sucks. Okay, whatever. Let's go. Giselle, I don't really believe you got A class. What do you mean? Of course I got A. Well, I heard they're setting everyone's public tomorrow. They're what? But since you're A, you don't have anything to worry about, right? Right. Give me that. Mommy, Jackson took my teddy bear. No, I didn't. See what happens when you lie, Giselle? You get killed. Don't ever lie. I'm just gonna take $10 from my mom's wallet. She'll never even know. Giselle, did you take money out of my wallet? No, Mom, I would never. I guess you were telling the truth. That's so weird. How didn't I get shot? I lied. Hey, is something wrong? I think I can lie without getting shot. There's no way. Okay, I'll prove it. Ask me a question. What color is your hair? My hair is brown. See? Nothing. What? That's so crazy. Excuse me, we're looking for a Giselle Catherine. That's me. Come with us. Hey, Mom. Hey, honey, what did you get on your math test? Oh, that? Yeah, I got an A. Well, show me then. She's gonna find out I'm lying. Okay, here you go. Oh my goodness, it says A. Wait, it does? I mean, yes. Of course it does. I'm so proud of you.
Oh my god, these videos
Hey, Giselle,
are
do you
cringe.
have a date to prom yet? Shit, no, I don't. Yeah, Jake is coming with me. There's no way. Giselle, are we still on for prom? Yeah, of course. Wait, how? I told you. Okay, something's definitely up. Let me try this. I have an Apple Watch. What? All my lies are coming true. This means I can literally have whatever I want. Hey Giselle, do you want to come shopping with us? Yeah, I am a millionaire after all. Wait, what is that? Oh no. What is yours but mostly used by others? Huh?
Attention?
Mom, what is this riddle? It's happening. Answer it quickly, do it. Okay. What is yours but mostly used by others? Think, Giselle, think. Your name. Yes, I got it right. Good job, honey. You got your first riddle right. Okay, but can you please explain to me why I had to answer it? Everyone is given riddles to answer, but if you don't answer correctly, you die.
Oh.
Giselle, what do you think about the riddle system? I think it's so stupid. I got my first riddle this morning. I just got a riddle. Okay, what is it? It's, what has to break before it's useful? What has to break before it's useful? I don't know. Time's running out. Say something. A glow stick. They're really killing people. What comes up but never comes down? Can somebody help me? Please be rich, please. Hey Mom, what's the time? I don't want to be late for school. I don't know, honey. Fine, I'll check myself. Giselle, no, looking at the time is now forbidden. If you look at it, you'll die. Promise.
Fuck that. That was dumb. Sometimes Let's Laugh is like really good, but sometimes it's moan worthy. And not yeah kind of moan. It's kind of moan. Unrolling history, military grade toilet paper. That sounds like it could be interesting.
And all my notes and everything completely ready to do a video on Sergeant Reckless, and then this happened and completely derailed my entire train of thought. My wife somehow found and then accidentally bought it on purpose to upset me, single-ply toilet paper.
Why would she do that? That's just mean.
Today we're talking about military-grade toilet paper, which is honestly going to be a brief history of toilet paper, and then it's rapidly just going to devolve into me yelling my frustrations at the existence of single-ply toilet paper, also known as military-grade toilet paper, or John Wayne toilet paper, because it's rough, it's tough, and it doesn't take shit from anybody. So if you're here to learn about military history, sorry, not going to be a whole lot of that this week. But if you wanted to watch the world's angriest, most unhinged TED Talk about bathroom habits, well, you're in luck. I make dad jokes without trying sometimes, apparently. Anyways, our story begins at the dawn of mankind. People have always been wiping their butts, it's just a matter of how. And until very recently in human history, you were kind of just stuck with using whatever you had readily available. If you lived in the woods, you would use some leaves, maybe some moss. Apparently, if you lived near the ocean, you would use seashells, which I don't really understand, but whatever.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
Then mankind advances to the point that we start recording history. We know that the Greeks were wiping their butts with broken pieces of pottery. We know that the Romans used a communal sponge on a stick that they would then just leave in a bucket of vinegar next to the toilet for the next guy, which is disgusting. And then it's also pretty well documented that the Native Americans and Pilgrims were wiping their butts with corn cobs, which I have questions, but I'm also not sure I want answers. Fast forward to 590 AD, China is credited with the first use of toilet paper, which makes sense because they invented paper. Now, fast forward again like 900 years, nobody else is using toilet paper yet. It's 1455, and King Henry VI has just created a new position in his royal council, the Yeoman of the Stool. This job title is awarded to a man by the name of William Grimsby, and for the rest of his life, his entire job is to clean the king's butt. Then after 30 years of being the royal cheek cleaner, he retires, the position gets renamed to Groom of the Stool, and I'm not kidding you, one person has held this position from the years of 1455 to 1901. The English monarch has always had a royal butt cleaner. And this is the part where you're like, okay, where's the punchline? The chubby electron guy's just trying to make fun of Great Britain again. Like, no, this is real life. There's no punchline. It's documented. It's actually documented. Every dude that's ever held the position of royal butt wiper from 1455 to 1901, and most of them got knighted for it. Could you imagine that guy hanging out at the bar with all the other knights like, hey, how'd you get knighted? Let me tell you, man, I've seen some shit. Fast forward again, 1799, we're like
really
40 years into the Industrial Revolution.
it.
America has won the Revolutionary War against Great Britain, officially upgrading from the USB to the USA. It is at this point that the mass production of paper begins. You start seeing things like the Farmer's Almanac, the Sears catalog, and overall scrap paper becomes much more readily available, and that's what people start using to wipe their butts. Which is actually why today, if you look at the Farmer's Almanac, there's a black dot in the upper right-hand corner. That's so you know where to drill the hole out so you can hang it on a hook in the outhouse. It's kind of like an homage to the history of the fact that the Farmer's Almanac was primarily used as toilet paper for a couple hundred years.
Hey, reading material.
So Farmer's Almanac, Sears catalogs, and outhouses are pretty much the toilet standard in North America for the next 100 years. Then, late 1800s, indoor plumbing finally becomes more prevalent in like hotels, fancy businesses, and really rich people houses. Also worth noting, we could have had the flushable toilet way sooner, because despite the fact that they weren't really around until the late 1800s, it was actually invented in the late 1500s by a poet by the name of Sir John Harrington, but the entire idea was suppressed by Queen Elizabeth I because Sir John Harrington was critical of the English government at the time. So she decided that she was going to take his blueprints, have one made just for herself, and then never let it see the light of day for like a couple hundred years. So yeah, she was literally sitting on the only toilet known to mankind and hogging the technology all to herself. So go ahead and add that to the list of reasons that the First Amendment's important, because without the freedom of speech, some government official might come along and literally deprive mankind of flushable toilets for like 300 years just because they don't like what somebody's saying. So then in 1887, an American inventor by the name of Joseph Gayeti invents the world's first commercial toilet paper. He kind of markets it as like a medical tissue paper for the bathroom that's supposed to be better for you than the Sears catalog or the Farmer's Almanac. For one, it doesn't clog up your toilet like those do because it dissolves in water. And for two, it hasn't gone through a printing process, so it should be healthier for you because a printing process back then incorporated like lead ink and arsenic and all other types of hazardous chemicals that you probably shouldn't be pressing up against your dirt button every day for your entire life. And the entire idea is kind of a huge flop because the American public is too shy to actually go out and buy toilet paper because I guess at this point in time, it was taboo to let anybody know that you pooped. So rather than selling directly to the consumer, he would end up doing private label stuff and selling it to like hotels and all the businesses that had toilets. So instead of having like the Gayeti brand of toilet paper, he would have, you know, such and such hotel would have their own private label packaging and he would sell it directly to them. And that's kind of how toilet paper got off the ground. Then over the course of the next 50 years, indoor plumbing becomes even more common amongst normal people. Toilet paper really takes off. And then in 1942, St. Andrew's Paper Mill does something revolutionary, something that has changed the entire face of mankind. The genius scientists working for this paper mill said, holy fuck, we should just sell this. And from that point on, everybody ditched single-ply toilet paper and only made 2-ply or greater toilet paper for the rest of human history because that was the right ethical thing to do, is what I want to tell you, but that's not the reality we live in because somehow single-ply toilet paper still exists and it's bullshit. Okay, maybe I'm out of line, but I like my toilet paper the same way Pixar likes their moms. Thick, okay? Not only am I mad about this, I'm legitimately confused at the science that goes into this technology. I mean, how they get it to be so sharp, yet so fragile at the same time is terrifying. Buh! You know, single-ply toilet paper might actually be better for the environment because you're saving trees. Buh! Okay, look, do I like trees and want to help save the environment? Sure, why not? But let's be honest here. There's a time and a place, and the minute your finger breaks through that single-ply toilet paper, fuck them trees. Okay, I'm just trying to get clean and get back to work. I don't need to get in touch with my inner self. Furthermore, it's definitely not gonna save any trees because the minute I realize that it's single-ply toilet paper, here's what's gonna happen.
2 hours later.
Because I'm like 250 pounds, it's summertime, and I know that with the slightest amount of gooch sweat, that first layer of single-ply toilet paper is going to dissolve on contact like a fucking Listerine strip, okay? I'm not taking any chances. Unless, God forbid, I'm in a public restroom and some corporate executive has decided that he's going to raise profit margins this year by really cutting back on the toilet paper expense and installed one of these fucking things that rations toilet paper. These things should be illegal. It's cruel and unusual punishment and false imprisonment, okay? I went into this bathroom thinking that I was just gonna have a normal bathroom experience and go on with my day, and now I'm in a fucking Saw movie. I want to play a game. Okay, we have to stop this because the way this is going, it's 2023 right now. I guarantee you if we don't do something about this, by 2030, I'm gonna have to watch an ad on the toilet paper dispenser before it gives me a single sheet of single-ply toilet paper. And I'm gonna have to go through 45 minutes of ads just to get enough paper to wipe my ass next time I have to go to the bathroom in public. So if you're like some high-level executive or a CEO or some marketing guy at a big company and they come to the table and they're like, we're really gonna cut down on toilet paper expenses this year, that's how we're gonna increase profit margins, hear me out. Don't do that. Just be like, go the exact opposite direction of everywhere else and then run an ad. Imagine if you went to a gas station and that gas station had ads that were running on TV that were like, come to Fat Electricians Taquitos and Gas where we have medium grade toilet paper because we think that if you're smart enough to shop here, you're also smart enough to know how to wipe your own ass. It's a really good marketing strategy because then every time they go to a different gas station and they see this shit, they're gonna be like, oh wow, this gas station doesn't trust me to wipe my own ass. I should probably go go to Fat Electricians, Taquitos, and Gas. I'm putting that on a shirt. Fat Electricians, Taquitos, and Gas. We trust you to wipe your own ass. It's going to be perfect. I'm so worked up about this, I'm just going to have to run for public office. That's going to be my entire platform. I'm going to abolish single-ply toilet paper and then leave you alone. It's the only thing I can do at this point. I mean, if we can strong-arm Apple into starting to use the USB-C port like every other phone on the planet, we should be able to abolish single-ply toilet paper. So I guess, in conclusion, if you made it this far into this extremely unhinged TED Talk, thank you. Hopefully you learned something about the history of toilet paper, or Queen Elizabeth I suppressing the toilet because she doesn't believe in the freedom of speech, or something along those lines. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out. Now I have to go buy real toilet paper, then I'm going to finish my Sergeant Reckless video, and then I have to decide if I'm either going to run for public office or open up my own chain of gas stations. Throw this shit.
Yeah,
I've not
me, I started for play.
So I guess it's time for one of those. I just don't know what topic I'm going to do.
It's one thing I don't scrimp and save on. You got to have decent butt rub.
No, where did this, like, army toilet paper? Where did you even get this?
It was cheap.
Sweetheart, we can afford, like, the medium grade toilet paper. This toilet paper is so thin I can see the future through it.
What's the future hold?
Poop on my finger, more than likely.
Can't say I blame him for that one. Damn. But once again, I'm Pyra Z. If you're enjoying what you're watching, please give me a follow or a subby if you don't want the ads. And give me something to watch and react to, because I need something. I mean, any wonder why I've been playing more video games lately? Because I don't have to wait and find out if I can get the things. Things to watch. Oh, don't know. No. Yeah, she's relatively funny. I guess I watched her.
Oh, honey, look, it's a Fendite. That's fun. I've never heard of that before.
I didn't realize that was here.
Hey, honey, you need sunscreen. You need sunscreen. We need to reapply. It's been 30 minutes. Oh, what is that one? Is that
Deer. I don't know. If you can't pronounce it, you can't afford it.
Hey, sunscreen time. Sunscreen time. Oh, honey, it's gutchy. Oh, that's interesting. It kind of sounds like another word for a vagina.
Balenciaga, what the hell is that, sweetie?
I think it's a type of fitness class.
Oh, I ain't signing up for that horse shit.
Oh, honey, I got a lot of swass building up. I got a blot. Oh, look, it's a Prada. I've never seen that before in real life. That's nice.
So when do you think this thing starts, huh?
I don't know, but do you think I need to reapply? Oh, Versace. That sounds like a type of pasta. Is that a type of pasta? Let's take a photo. My hat away. Sorry I'm late to the party. Oh, no worries. Come on in. Who is that woman? I don't know, but I'm gonna find out. Where is everybody? Mom! Oh, hey! Mom! Where is she? Mom! What? Riley, have you seen your mom yet? No. Where is she? Should be here by now. Maybe let's ask this extremely attractive woman. Miss, do you know the location of our other mother? Are you guys serious right now? Mom? Riley, that is not your mother. Holy shit. What do you mean? I am not going to lie. I did not recognize you. Yeah, you look stunning. I did not realize she had this much potential. It's like she leveled up to an upgraded skin. Reconfirming my suspicions. We are living in the simulation. Hey, beautiful. I haven't seen you around here before. Ew, Chad. Janet? Holy, did you change your everything? You all suck. I'm gonna go talk to your mother.
This is how I believe Australian conversations go.
Oi, where's Dad? Oh, he's on Chad's dick. He's on his dick? Yeah, mate, why? What about Mum? What about Mum? Well, where is she? Well, Dad's on somebody else's dick. What do you mean, mate? Mum's out on Chad's dick too. What do you mean? Yeah, mate, I was thinking about hopping on Chad's dick too. Oh, fuck me, I need a beer.
We don't actually talk like
yeah,
that.
I'm the Uber. Been sick. Way added.
Isn't it obvious?
Are you a valet at a Best Western?
What? No!
What?
A 2-star restaurant DJ.
Couple years ago, but no! You seriously don't know what I'm doing?
Oh, I know. You work at Subway.
No!
Oh, now I'm craving a tuna melt.
I'm going golfing!
Oh, never would have guessed that.
What did you think this giant bag of clubs was for?
I figured someone owed you money.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, I carry around a bat for the same reason.
Whoa, okay, relax, lady. I never tell a woman to relax, especially when she's wielding a bat. Okay? Jeez.
That sounds more like Poms and Australians.
But gotta take this out more often.
Hey, there's some pizza downstairs. What? What is it? Is it the pants? Is it the... I know it's bulging a little bit here, but is it... Do you like the pattern? I just got them. You don't... Is it the shirt? Is it... I tied it in the back. I thought that was okay. Is it... It's too Y2K, isn't it? Isn't it? And these jeans aren't doing my ass any favors. I know. My ass isn't that flat, is it? No. You think it is? I don't know, man. I don't know. Should I change? Should I change? This is dumb. This is a dumb outfit. It's dumb. It's dumb. Should I change? Should I change? Okay, yeah, I'll change.
Riley, can you get off the iPad and help me clean up? After I'm done!
Excuse me?
After I'm done!
Did you think that was a recommendation? No, do you think I ever spoke to your Nona that way?
You did. Literally all the time.
Ma, I'm trying to teach you how to not talk back.
Oh, what, by lying? For heaven's sake, your favorite word to use as a kid was
Ma!
Mm-hmm.
See, I would have spent bum if I said that.
This, that, you know?
Oh my God. Okay, fine. But how about you tell her how you punished me after I did that, okay? Tell her how you beat me into next Tuesday every time I did.
I would never.
What do you mean you never did? You did it every time.
I do not recall that.
Are you serious right now?
I think you hit your head too many times as a kid. You're just making stuff up now.
You were the one that did it!
Okay, you need to calm down.
Yeah, Mom, just chill the out.
That's on you. I don't...
Can you hold the elevator?
Damn it. Close.
I'm coming.
Come on, close, you piece of shit.
Woo! Made it. Thanks. Oh, yeah. It's no problem.
Great. Alone in the elevator with a man, and my phone's dead, so I can't even look at it. Oh my God, did he just check me out? I mean, he's kind of cute, I guess. Oh my God, what if we got stuck in the elevator and we talked for hours and we fell in love?
She has so much makeup on.
Oh wait, what if this is like a Ted Bundy situation and he's super cute and charming at the start, but then takes me back to my hotel room and has his way with me, and then takes my head as a souvenir? Oh my God, he's not checking me out, he's sizing up his next victim. I have to fart so bad. Okay, be cool. Okay, let's just look up our self-defense saved TikToks on our phone. Okay. It's dead! Hold it in, buddy. What the is that piece? Oh, I'm done for. Of course this would happen to me. I can't just have a nice, neat, and cute. I gotta get stuck in the elevator with a guy that's gonna eat me out Jeffrey Dahmer style. Maybe if I just let it out in little increments. Oh, and I had half a cake left in the fridge. This is the worst day ever. Nope, almost shit myself. Oh, thank God, it's almost at my floor. Okay, get ready. Just a couple more floors, big boy.
Hold the elevator for me, Sonny.
Oh shit, close. Okay, so your friends are Stefan and Steven? Yeah. So my gay friends Steven and Stefan are in town, and I figured I'd introduce them to Chad because I need a little free entertainment, because watching Chad interact with two gay men is single-handedly the funniest thing I have ever witnessed. Chad, this is Steven. Hold on. Absolute pleasure, darling. And his boyfriend, Stefan? Oh. Hi. Nice to meet you. Howdy. Cool. Awesome. Super cool. So you two are together? Yes. Yep. And that's awesome. Congratulations. That's stellar. Thank you. I'm super stoked for you. I'm here for it, and I'm queer for it. Is that? You know when you're watching a toddler skate for the first time and he just keeps falling over and you should probably help him, but it's kind of funny just to watch him fall?
Yeah.
Jazzy toddler. And I think it's great that you're riding that gay train, guys, because I'm in that caboose, you know, just pumping my fist in full support of your gay train ride. Alright then. Not that I want to ride your train or in your train, I don't have a ticket. I'm just shoveling coal in the back into the engines of your love, you know? I just want you to know that. So. I think Chad might be a little gay. Definitely gay. Hey, could you pass me a banana? Why do you have to do that? You know, it doesn't have to be like this. Be like what? We're all grown up now. We can just talk to each other and be mature about it. We're be grown-ups about it, you know? We could stop with all the childish antics and just get along and not just waste time doing stuff that we did when we were kids. We could actually have a relationship now. You could hand me that banana without saying anything in retaliation. Just here is the banana, you know? Okay. Here is your banana. Thank you. See, isn't this nice?
Thank you.
I didn't wash my hands after I peed, by the way. Oh, God. You look like you belong in a one-hit wonder Y2K boy band, by the way. At least I don't look like you. At least I douche nozzle. This is not a coincidence. It's not the algorithm, okay? If you're coming across this, you need to hear it. This is divine energy, okay? Spirits, tell me what they need to hear. Oh, half the deck, okay? 10 of spades. 10 of spades. This means he is thinking about you, okay? He's thinking about you. He does not talk to you, but he's thinking about you next. His name might be Jack, might start with a J, maybe an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, or Z, but could be it. Ace, he is the one. He's the one you've been waiting for, and you need to wait 4 years. Just go wait 4 years, love, and like the video, and also contact me privately to get a private reading. And 11:11 on the clock. I don't know what that means. Hey, I like you. Oh, hello, I like you too. We should hang out. I would like that very much. Let's hang out. You're so great. You are also so great. We should make this a thing. What? A thing, like I would be with you and you would be with me and we would just see each other, you know, because we like each other and we think each other are great. I hear what you're saying, and no. Oh, you don't like me anymore? No, I do a lot, and I depend on you a lot, and you're a great person, and I really like hanging out with you. Okay, but you don't want to be with me? No, but I want to hang out still, you know? So you want to be with me, but you don't want to be with me? Yeah, like we're not exclusive, but like, you know? No. Yeah, so this is the house. It's great. Then, this is Kevin. Oh. Yes, my name is Kevin. I'm 4 years old, and I'm a super good boy that likes getting pats on the head. What? What do you mean, what? What was that? What just happened? Oh, Kevin's just talking to you. What? No, because I'm a super good boy, and I really like talking and chasing balls around the house, among other things. What? Stop doing that! This is just Kevin's voice. Dogs don't talk! Kevin does. No, he doesn't. He's a dog. You know, whatever. Okay, I'm moving on. What's the third problem? I don't know. Okay, everybody's been using this filter, and I need to see what I look like when I'm old. Okay. Oh my god. Oh, I look like my Grammy. Wait, why am I crying? I'm okay with that. On today's episode of Let's Let an App Tell Me Why I'm Single.
Because you're someone that lets an app tell you why you're single.
Oh, did I get the answer? You go. Oh, shit. Oh no, are they gonna take the drugs to hide it from the cops? I don't know. What are drugs? They turn your brain into mush. But they make trees look really cool. Really? No, stop. Oh my god, are they gonna put the drugs up their ass? What? I don't know. What's an ass? It's a donkey, Riley.
We're gonna put drugs in a donkey?
No, it's another word for your butt.
What is?
Ass.
Can you not? So a donkey is a butt?
No, ass means donkey and butt means ass.
But
exactly. Oh my god, I'm done. I'm gone. I can't even enjoy a movie.
What's a per donkey?
Close enough. Hey guys!
Hey!
I got a new outfit and does it look okay? I'm not sure, like, I think it's cute though, right?
Couldn't you decide on just one color?
Girl, that face with that suit.
Okay,
You look great, Billy Blue Jean.
okay,
Oh yeah, is this what you wear to slop the hogs with?
what? I'm gonna change. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, cryptocurrency. Anyway, so
Would you look at the time? Oh man, yeah. Yeah.
You know, I just think Andrew Tate has a point.
No.
What? Oh! Are you okay?
Oh, it's just something in my throat. It's just, Anyway, you were saying? Oh!
So yeah, not to be racist or anything, but
You know, my illegitimate father gifted me a coffee ground slip and slide for my half birthday.
So, what's your body count? So I was thinking of heading back to my place. You want to join
Oh no,
me?
I think I'm about to faint. Ouch!
I was supposed to catch her.
She was a lot funnier than the other one. But yeah, I am still looking for something to react to, so if someone's got any ideas, any at all, please let me know. Otherwise, I may have to just, like, do something else. Can Okay, let's listen to a scary story. Oh, you've got an idea, Mattis? Awesome.
When Uber ride services finally came to Japan in the late 20s, it seemed a perfect fit for Donald Dubois. Post-pandemic trepidation and cheaper online English classes were the final nail in the coffin for his already struggling ESL school, forcing Donald to close down his once flourishing business and seek out gainful employment elsewhere at middle age.
Oh dear.
Things looked bleak indeed, until, like a godsend, a very timely ad for a life-changing app appeared on his screen. He signed up and did the very best that he could with the resources he had to set himself up for success in his new role. There were two distinct differences between the Western and Japanese versions of the Uber app that were particularly attractive to Donald. One, there were no city or zone restrictions for drivers, largely due to the population crisis. This meant he could earn a living driving at night in any city or area in mainland Japan. Therefore, he could spend his days traveling like a tourist, visiting the scenic sites he was never able to when tied down, and found that this was slowly reigniting his passion for the culture of his adopted country. Donald particularly liked the quiet solitude of abandoned shrines and temples in the vacated rural areas. It was therapeutic in a way, a perfect contrast to the relentless consumerism of the sprawling urban areas he worked most evenings. The other, and most appealing perk that driving in Japan proffered, was a special permit allowing small to mid-sized pets to accompany drivers during work hours. This meant Donald could bring his beloved rescue cat Cookie along for this exciting new chapter in his life. In fact, it fast became the strongest selling feature of his new business. Japan had changed a lot in recent years, but they were still crazy for cats here. And Cookie was a big hit. She also tended to attract a certain demographic. Donald couldn't remember the last time he felt so happy and content. That was until earlier this evening, when he attended to a call to pick up a very tall and slender fare, who abruptly entered the car, not paying any attention to Donald or his customer focus. "There's a damn cat in here," he complained. The belligerent fare then struck the side of Donald's headrest, startling Cookie before commanding him to hurry up. Donald sat in silence, his mind freshly swimming with painful memories of the bullying that marred his childhood and much of his adult life. As the excruciating car ride came to a merciful end, the abusive passenger finally exited the car by slamming the door. Donald muttered under his breath exactly what he thought of him, and the large man stopped dead in his tracks, turned, and then lunged towards the car for a short-lived sprint as Donald floored it to safety. Shaken, Donald parked up in an area on the other side of town and broke down. He felt he couldn't escape the constant abuse he copped in his life. Koshinuke, his ex-wife used to call him. A coward, before she left him alone. On the verge of tears, Donald is shaken back to reality with a knock on the window. "Katsukab desu ka?" Donald rolled down his window to reveal an attractive younger woman. "Katsukab desu ka?" she asked again. Donald confirmed that it was indeed a cat's cab and collected himself, thinking work might be the best thing to clear his mind right now. Her destination, just outside the neighboring city of Toyohashi, Donald suggested taking the highway bypass into the city and doubling back, rather than taking the shorter route through the all but deserted and increasingly dangerous boroughs that preceded it. The woman did not object in the slightest, and then suddenly... "What was that?" she implored. Donald wasn't sure what they had hit, but informed her that his passenger's side front tire was now losing air rapidly according to the ECU's tire pressure sensor. He told her that it was too dangerous to change on the highway, so he would have to park up somewhere safer. The girl reluctantly agreed as they exited the bypass and came to a stop in an area that was unfamiliar to them both. "I'll just be a couple of minutes," Donald promised. And as the girl begged him to please hurry, a larger, darker SUV suddenly pulled up beside them. Donald got a brief glimpse of the driver before he sped off, panic settling in. "Go, now, go, go," the passenger pleaded. Donald exited the vehicle and retrieved the iron and jack from the trunk to work on the affected tire. Suddenly, high beams from a vehicle parked directly opposite them flashed on, bathing them in light. Donald was paralyzed with fear, yet somehow, perhaps in defiance of his earlier act of cowardice, summoned the courage to walk into the light and face whatever was beyond. Unsure who to call, the girl began to dial an emergency when suddenly a loud crash rang out from the distance. She considered running for the highway, and just as she exited the car, a figure emerged from the lights. It was Donald. He then explained that it was just a friendly local checking to see if they were okay. The girl expressed her considerable relief and said she just needed a second to send her location to her family. Donald told her everything would be alright, and then he said he'd get the door for her. Message sent, she glanced down and noticed that the front tire wasn't flat or damaged at all. Donald did so love the quiet solitude of these old shrines, the eerie calmness of their surroundings, the zen-like state it would put him in, and the privacy, the uninterrupted privacy. But most of all, he just loved to watch them all burn. Just like his cheating whore wife. Thank you for all of your support over the years. And a very special thanks to the Dark Cosmos, Kelly
Seemed like it
Stevens, who
ended in a different place than it started.
This be the face of the Zodiac Killer? October 6, 2021, the nonprofit group The Case Breakers, a team of 40 independent investigators devoted to cold cases, made the bombshell announcement. After more than 53 years of speculation, expert and amateur theories, the Zodiac Killer could finally be identified. His name? Gary Francis Post. We've talked about the Zodiac Killer a lot, but just in case you need a refresher, for 10 months from December 20th, 1968 to October 11th, 1969, 5 people were murdered in the San Francisco Bay Area. The first two, David Arthur Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were teenagers, shot to death on Lake Herman Road in Benicia. Next, on July 4th, 1969, Darlene Farron and Mike Majou were shot while parked in Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. Majou survived, Farron did not. An anonymous caller notified the police, taking responsibility and also confessing to the Benicia murders. On August 1st, 3 letters were sent to the Vallejo Times-Herald, San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner, taking credit for the crimes and demanding publication. That meant including a 3-part cryptogram that the writer claimed would reveal his identity. On August 7th, he wrote a subsequent letter giving details only the police could corroborate, and naming himself the Zodiac. On September 27th, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Ann Shepard were attacked by a hooded man at Lake Berryessa in Napa County. They were tied up, then stabbed multiple times. Hartnell survived, Shepard did not. 2 weeks later, on October 11th, cab driver Paul Stein was shot in the head in Presidio Heights. 3 teens witnessed the killer leave the cab. The Zodiac later wrote taking credit and proved it by enclosing a piece of Stein's bloody shirt. While there have been no confirmable Zodiac murders since, he continued a correspondence with the police and press, claiming 37 kills. So, why do the Case Breakers think Post is their guy? According to the official press release, it's been years in the making. They identify, quote, outlaw turned Zodiac whistleblower Will, unquote, who claims he was part of a posse run by Post near High Sierra mountain range in California. Will said he even saw Post bury a cache of weapons used in the Zodiac killings up in the mountains. He tried for years to convince authorities Post was the killer, but no one seemed interested, until he met California news anchor Dale Hulin. Dale heard Will's story and brought it to the attention of the Case Breakers. Subsequent eyewitnesses agree. These include a former neighbor whom Post and his wife used to babysit, who claims that as a toddler she was taken by Post to the nearby woods and taught how to shoot. He even gave her a .22 pistol of her own and made similar gifts to members of his posse. The organization's intel expert Eric Kleinsmith says one witness saw a mechanism in Post's home that could manufacture a postage stamp, thus obfuscating his whereabouts. Post was a former Air Force radar technician, also owned a pair of military-issued Air Force Wingwalker boots, similar to those that made prints leaving the scene of the crime at Lake Berryessa. Post had scars from a 1959 car crash that seemed to match the markings on the face of the police composite sketch based on the Presidio Heights teens' accounts and corroborated by Kathleen Johns. And while the tauntings continued throughout the 70s, Kleinsmith points out that the Zodiac killing stopped when Post got married. And if all that wasn't enough, Case Breakers founder Thomas J. Colbert claims to have 6 eyewitnesses, 3 of them via sworn affidavits, who say Post actually told them he was the Zodiac. For Case Breakers, though, the key was the cipher. The Zodiac's coded messages are infamous. The first was broken by a high school teacher and his wife. One was not solved until 2020, but some remain unsolved, baffling expert code breakers from around the world. Allegedly, Dale was told that Post's full name is the key to breaking the cipher. He brought this up to the Case Breakers, who consulted other code-breaking experts, and apparently, it's a match. Using Post's name is the key to deciphering the letters.
I find
Any
it's
more
the best way to
details?
come up with a
Not
tree.
quite. For one thing, no one can ask Post himself. He died in 2018. And in an interview with a YouTuber, Peter A. Turner, Kleinsmith admitted the lack of resources is holding up some verification. The hidden cache of weapons buried somewhere in the High Sierras? Kleinsmith says they don't have the
So
skill,
now that I
equipment,
have
or
this,
legal permission to make that difficult
which
hike
has
and
the
investigate,
eminent.
though they
Yeah.
hope they can get organized soon. The ciphers, as
yeah.
with past attempts at breaking the Zodiac's codes, the FBI will have to verify. The DNA? There is some of Post available, apparently taken by police following an instance of domestic abuse later in his life. This will have to be officially verified by the FBI, which is a bit trickier. There is no confirmed Zodiac DNA at any of the crime scenes. The closest police have come is from the saliva on the stamps used to mail the Zodiac's mocking letters. So far, that partial profile has only been used to rule suspects out. The casebreakers are also concerned with linking the murder of Sherry
like
Jo
this
Bates
one.
to
This
Post,
one
and
will do
therefore the
nicely.
Zodiac. For decades, people have speculated that Bates was one of Zodiac's early victims. She was found stabbed to death
I'm
on October
experimenting with
31st,
different brushes.
1966, in Riverside, California. 10 feet from the body was a...
But, I gotta pee, so I will be right back. And, yeah, I will continue the cherry blossom tree with the letter M in it, as said, when I return. Okay? Back in a jiffy, so don't make a tippy. Yeah. I have returned. How we doing? Is it all good? I wanna know. I have returned. How you're doing? I'm Pyra Z. Whoa, 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 whoa. No. Oh well. I want to make sure we're back before I hit play on the video, because I want everyone to not miss what's happening, you know? Oh, that's good squishy. Oh, pardon me. No, I wasn't trying to encourage you summoning. I swear. Okay, now that we're all back, I will hit play.
Paint-splattered watch and a footprint made by a military-style boot. Bates had apparently fought her assailant, catching their skin and hair under her fingernails. Palm and fingerprints not belonging to her or any of her friends and family were also found inside her car. Later, letters boasting of the crime were sent to police, the press, and Bates' father. An anonymous letter sent to the San Francisco Chronicle's Paul Avery told the reporter to look into similarities between the Bates case and the Zodiac murders. Handwriting expert Sherwood Morrill believed the letter to Bates' father matched the Zodiac's letters, and the Zodiac killer even claimed Bates as one of his victims in a letter to the Los Angeles Times from 1971. The FBI officially considers Bates one of the Zodiac's victims. The Riverside police are more skeptical. As recently as August 2021, they revealed that the writer of the initial letters was known to them. The culprit made a confession anonymously in 2016. Police managed to track him down by, yes, DNA analysis from the saliva on the stamp used. Further investigation and further confession confirmed that the man wrote the letters in 1966, but was neither Bates' killer nor connected to the Zodiac murders. He had just been a troubled teen seeking attention. The department's official website hints that they have their own prime suspect unconnected to any of the Bay Area murders, and their investigation continues on that path. Zodiac or not, could there still be a connection between Post and Bates' murder? At the time of the murder, Post was no longer with the Air Force, but still received checkups and medical attention at the hospital on March Air Force Base. The base is just 10 miles from Riverside City College, where Bates' body was found, a 15-minute drive. Post was also a house painter for 40 years. Remember the paint-spattered watch found near the body? So far, the Riverside Police Department has declined the casebreakers' demand that they compare the DNA evidence from the Bates crime scene, still in storage, to Post's DNA. And there is no doubt DNA comparisons could help. It was DNA that finally shattered a favorite theory for Zodiac enthusiasts, Arthur Lee Allen. Allen was either interviewed or had his property searched by the police frequently over a period of 20 years. In 1969, he was questioned by the police when it was discovered that he was in the Lake Berryessa area the day of the Hartnell Shepard attacks. And a so-called friend of his, Don Chaney, approached the police in 1971. He claimed Allen told him that Allen wanted to kill people. Allen also owned a Zodiac brand wristwatch, a brand not really related to the murders except for the name and the symbol, the very same crosshairs that the killer used as his signature. He liked to be called by his middle name, Lee, and one of the victims, Darlene Farron, was said to have been friends with a mystery man named Lee. Besides, he was a known creep, with a record of sexual assaults and misconduct against young boys. Mike Majou, a survivor of one of the Zodiac attacks, identified Allen via photo lineup, albeit 23 years after the fact. The circumstantial evidence was overwhelming. But circumstantial evidence isn't definitive evidence. Some noted that Majou's assertion contradicted his initial eyewitness description of his attacker. Others pointed out that Allen was balder, rounder, taller, and 100 pounds heavier than any Zodiac description. His handwriting didn't match, nor did his palm print match anything collected at the crime scenes. Even Detective Dave Toshi, the lead investigator for the San Francisco Police Department, said Allen looked very, very good for a while, but everything's turned out to be negative. It wasn't until 2002 when DNA evidence from one of the Zodiac's letters would rule him out. Even Don Chaney's DNA was tested just to make sure. Nothing. Which is why some Zodiac experts are already meeting this Post news with some skepticism. They've all seen this before. So what if friends and family members say Post was the Zodiac? He's not the first to be accused by so-called loved ones. Allen, remember, was tipped to the cops by a friend. And even some of his relatives had their suspicions, but Allen wasn't the only one. In 2015, Gary Stewart researched his biological father, Earl Van Best. His search, he claims, revealed that after abandoning Gary in Baton Rouge in 1962, he moved on to California and became the Zodiac Killer. If you'd like to know more, you can read Stewart's book on the subject, The Most Dangerous Animal of All, or check out the original docuseries based on the book. In 2014, Randy Kenny told the press his friend Louis Myers confessed to the killings in April 2001. Myers would have been 17 at the time, and Kenny says the infamous Halloween card Paul Avery received in 1970 was the key to the whole thing. The inside says for teen, not a kill count, but a hint to look for a teen. Kenny claims that Myers went to school with some of his victims. Myers died in May 2002, but made Kenny swear that he would write and publish a book about Myers' allegations, with proceeds going to the victims' families, of course. In 2009, Deborah Perez of Corona, California claimed her father, Guy Ward Hendrickson, was the Zodiac Killer. She went further, actually saying that when she was 7 years old, he had her write the letters, lick the stamps, and sew the mask he wore. She also happened to be working on a documentary on the subject. Her half-sister claims it's all lies. In 2006, retired LAPD detective Steve Hodel released his best-selling book, The Black Dahlia Avenger. The book made a convincing case that his father, George Hodel, killed Elizabeth Short. another legendary cold case victim who was murdered and mutilated in Los Angeles in 1947. As we said, it was a bestseller, praised by critics and police. Less praised was his 2009 follow-up where he claimed his father was also the Zodiac Killer, and Chicago Lipstick Killer of 1945 and the Manila Jigsaw Murderer in 1967. So yes, while some are greeting the news of Post's identification with a sigh of finally,
Everyone's
others
space-time
look at
is
the news
different.
with crossed arms and an arched brow. After all, the founder of Casebreakers, Thomas Colbert, used to work in production in Hollywood. In one interview, Eric Kleinsmith made sure to plug the team's upcoming docuseries about their investigation of the D.B. Cooper case, coming to a prestige streaming service. And their press release emphasizes twice that the guy who broke the case for them, Dale Julian, has written a, quote, copyrighted book manuscript on the subject. So, is this the face of the Zodiac Killer? Only time and official verification from someone not looking to cash in will tell.
Yeah, that is the trick. Not looking to make money
From
on it.
everyone else's. No one can exist in space exactly where I am, thus no one can experience time exactly how I do. But your space-time is pretty much exactly like mine, so your experiences are humanly identical. Black holes warp space-time, meaning space-time near them is very much different from space-time near us. In the last video, we saw that this means space behaves very differently than what we expected. Now let's explore what this warpage means for time.
Yeah, what does it mean for time?
Although the distortions in space make it essentially impossible to orbit near a black hole, we can still get very close if we have strong engines and stronger bones. If we simply point our engines towards the singularity, we can resist the sultry curves of the black hole and get closer. This of course means our engines need to output more and more thrust the nearer we get, which means the occupants will experience a greater and greater downward force smushing them into their seats.
I'm doing alright.
This is not a pleasant scenario, so we're going to pretend our ship has some sort of anti-gravity device.
How you been, stranger?
What happens as we get closer? Orienting ourselves is not the easiest thing. As we descend, the black hole bends more and more light from the horizon down into it. This causes the ever-consuming blackness to bend up around us. As we pass through the photon sphere, the last possible chance for light to arrive directly from the horizon vanishes. Geometrically, we are still outside of the black hole, but to our eyes, it looks like we've now entered inside.
Doing good, dying
The further we
eternally as
go,
usual?
the more light bends away
Too
from
much
us,
work?
and our window of the universe above shrinks. This creates a bit of a conundrum. How do we know when we've reached the event horizon? Unlike the ISCO and the photon sphere, there's no tangible boundary we can point at and say, ah, there it is. Down here, everything is as black can be. There's two things we can do to counter this. The first
Yeah,
is
that
just
can be a bit
simply
hard
watching our
sometimes.
ever-shrinking window above us. When that shrinks to a point, we are directly above the event horizon. Or we can measure the distance between the ISCO and the photon sphere and divide that by 3. Once we've traveled that distance beyond the photon sphere, we've crossed the event horizon. Our
But
ship
at
has
least even
fancy
when we're
computers and
pain in the
thus
butt, at
uses
least you
those
still get
distances
paid.
to calculate and then project a hologram of where the event horizon is for us to see. Finally, we reach our destination. 1.01 Schwarzschild radii from the singularity, just above the event horizon. Our engines thrusting with unimaginable force and our anti-gravity device working overtime to keep us comfortable. Now we can experiment to observe the strange new reality we inhabit. Before descending into the black hole, we left a probe orbiting above at the ISCO. Every time the probe passed overhead, it sent out a radio wave signal at 10 MHz. A light wave's frequency is time dependent. If our time is different down here near the event horizon, we should observe a frequency other than 10 MHz. The equation for time dilation is this, where x is the distance in Schwarzschild radii from the singularity, and the reference frame is of someone very far from the black hole. Our orbiting probe is not very far from the black hole, so we need to calculate the time for both of these. We find that at 1.01 Schwarzschild radii, our time is running at 12% the rate of our probe. So for every second that passes here, 8.3 seconds passes for it. When we measure the emitted radio wave frequency, we see that it's jumped to 83 MHz. Time is indeed running slower here relative to those further away. Now the most important question to ask is, but why? For some reason, the universe has decided that physics should behave the exact same way no matter where you are within it. This is the concept of general relativity. No matter your reference frame, light will always travel at the speed of light. Since speed or velocity is a measurement of space and time, then the only way to keep light at the speed of light for every reference frame is to make modifications to space and time. Let's look at the space-time around our black hole. This is an embedding diagram. It's a two-dimensional representation of three-dimensional space. Just like how we in 3 dimensions can't observe the 4th dimension, those living here can't observe the 3rd. So even though in reality objects will be moving along curves, those in this world cannot see them. Without gravity, out here, far away from the black hole, objects move through space exactly how we'd imagine them to in 2 dimensions. However, let's see what happens when a photon approaches our black hole. Photons are light and thus must move at a constant velocity. Yet as we watch our photon from the point of view of someone within the universe, the photon appears to start slowing down. Something is wrong here. Although we cannot observe light in this manner, this is conceptually what is happening. The space around the black hole becomes more and more bent into the higher dimension. Thus, part of our photon's journey that we can only observe in the lower dimension is occurring through the unobservable higher dimension.
Not rocket science.
Therefore, time itself slows down in gravity wells in order to allow light to transverse this extra distance. Why must the speed of light always appear the speed of light? I don't know. There's not really a reason except then physics wouldn't work. It's important to remember that for every instance along our light's journey, it appears to be moving at the speed of light for anyone at that frame of reference. If we decided to start here and move away, we would see that the light seems to speed up the further it gets from the black hole. This diagram also shows gravitational acceleration. From the point of view of someone falling into the black hole, they will simply travel in a straight line at constant velocity. But because time starts running slower, they will arrive sooner than they expected. Now you have the philosophical question of, is arriving at a destination sooner than expected different from arriving somewhere at a faster speed? But really they are two descriptions of the same thing. At the event horizon, gravity appears undefined. That is to say, the slope or tangent of space-time appears completely vertical. That means space or gravity is flowing at the speed of light, and thus all of the light's movement is in the higher dimension, meaning it can't move anywhere in the lower dimension. Thus, time halts. I must stress this is all relative, and appears undefined is the key phrase. Mathematically, the curve looks like this down to infinity. But for our observer, this far out, space is moving at the speed of light here, meaning it appears completely contracted along the direction of motion, and thus it looks completely vertical or undefined.
Oh no.
Relativity is weird.
Yeah, it is.
The last question we will tackle today is, what does it mean then to interact with the event horizon, or the place where time seems to stand still? Can you really not go past it and come back? What if we stuck a really long pole from our spaceship out past the event horizon and then pulled it back? Surely that would be possible, right? Well, first, it's a ludicrous notion. No materials would be able to maintain integrity that close to and resisting the gravitational acceleration of our black hole. But it doesn't hurt to think about. The first caveat to explore is that we like to think objects are one complete thing, that the two ends of our rods are part of a single entity. So when I move this part of the rod forward, the other end moves simultaneously as well. However, what really happens is that you apply a pressure front of electrons pushing against electrons that travels almost the speed of light through our rod.
So Pink, do you have
As
to
we
have a
descend
video
our
that you'd like
extremely
for me to
crazy
react to,
long
or
rod
shall
down
we
towards
watch
the
this
event
video
horizon,
that Mattis is
time for
giving
the
me
end
about the great
closest moves slower than for the end we are holding on to. So one of two things is going to happen, and both seem equally valid. The first theory is that the end of the pole at the event horizon perceives time further from it to move ludicrously fast. Thus, as you push the rod towards it, it receives all of those pressure waves from electrons very quickly, and it explodes or breaks apart. But you wouldn't be able to observe this, as the light from the event horizon would be too redshifted to see. The second theory is that compared to the end we are holding on to, time near the event horizon is running ludicrously slow. This creates a very strong pulling force which would snap the rod much like a rope breaking from too much weight. I honestly have no idea and will not guess which is more likely. This does not mean that if you fall into the event horizon you will explode or be ripped apart. This is merely a product of the fact that being motionless near the event horizon and further from it are two completely different states of being, and those two states don't like being connected to one another. Once you let go of the rod, it becomes an inertial reference frame and suddenly everything is fine. This is because although time is running slower for the part of the rod near the event horizon, the matter has also accelerated and is moving faster than the matter in the rod further from the event horizon. This balances out, and thus our rod falls in as if it was anywhere else in the universe.
It does?
Thus concludes our in-depth look at the distortions of space-time around a black hole. There are many other things to discuss about these unreal phenomena. The fact that they can have charges or spin, Hawking radiation, and their temperature. Perhaps these are topics to return to another day. But the next question to ask is, why and how do black holes form?
Don't know. I really just don't know. I'm too smooth brain to be able to work that out. And now for a story that is Australian for fun, even though every time humanity has gone to war with a
Hey kids, today I'm going to talk about the Great Emu War. So here's what happened, right? Our story begins in Australia, home of the upside down whopper. The year is 1932. A very large chunk of the country's population lives on homesteads, just putting seeds in the ground and waiting for food to show up, you know. But their lives are hard. Firstly, Australian soil kind of blows. It's pretty terrible for farming. Like on a scale from Margaret Thatcher's corpse to Octomom, Australia's soil is a solid Hillary Clinton in fertility. Secondly, the whole Great Depression thing's going on, which automatically makes everything suck worse. And third, and possibly most important, is the emu infestation. These gangly dill holes were all over the place, just walking on crops and crapping on crops and crapping on walks and cropping on craps and crabbing on docks and captain on the rocks. You get the idea. So the government evaluated the situation. They were like, well, let's weigh our options here. As a government, we could start spending even more money to secure the welfare of our citizens through this socioeconomic crisis. Money that we barely even have. Or, alternatively, we could just start fucking slaughtering emus, so at least it looks like we're helping. So that's what they did. Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Australian military was put in command of the operation, and he had a total of 2 soldiers at his disposal, each of which had a light machine gun. Additionally, the pair was given a total of 10,000 rounds of ammunition to be spent on taking out emus. So on paper that sounds like a piece of cake. They're basically just big turkeys on stilts, so how hard could it be? Well, apparently, pretty frickin' hard. Let me learn you kids a thing or two about emus. First of all, emus are tough as hell. Their bodies are basically like meat-laden tanks. They can definitely take a bullet or 3 and still keep running long enough to get away. Secondly, these fuckers have tactics. Like guerrilla warfare, it ain't got shit on emu warfare. They start out in a big herd or flock or pod, I don't really know. Let me Google it. Okay, a group of emus is technically called a mob. So you got a big mob of emus, right? And as soon as they sense danger, they break up into a bunch of little mobs and start scattering in every direction. So if you're spraying them down with a machine gun, you can't just whip it around all over the place. You have to focus your fire on one group at a time, meaning most of the others could get away pretty easily. I don't know if they had like a huddle beforehand or if this is just some coincidental product from their ridiculous bird minds, but it was effective either way. So between these two things, taking out the emus ended up being a huge struggle. Here's the story on what happened. So the crew went out in search of emus. The first time they found a mob, they started shooting before the guns were in range, so most of the emus got away. The second time, they waited until the emus were closer, but then the gun jammed, so most of the emus got away. And this sort of pattern went on for a while. At one point, they tried getting on the back of a truck first so they could chase down the mob, but the truck wasn't fast enough to catch up, and the ride was so bumpy that they couldn't aim properly, so most of the emus got away. By the time they got a fourth of the way through their ammo, after 2,500 shots, only 300 or so had been killed, which is tiny compared to the 20,000 birds said to be roaming the outback. At this point, they were like, alright, if I have to look at one more of these Jimmy-legged big bird wannabes, I'm gonna start screaming, so you know what? Fuck it. Let the farmers handle it. Then the farmers were like, hey, jackholes, we're still starving out here. You still haven't given us those subsidies you promised. We had to feed the kids fucking dingo meat, which, you know, it's a nice change of pace to have the kids eating the dingoes for once, but that's beside the point. Could you dicks keep at least trying to help us? Thanks. The guys were like, alright, don't get your bogans in a bundle. We'll keep going if only to prove a point. So they kept going, just finding mobs, thinning them out slightly, rinse and repeat, until finally they only had like 100 bullets left. In total, the unit only had 986 confirmed kills. Some emus might have also died from their wounds after the fact, but still, a very large portion of the hordes was still alive. So the military was forced to surrender for real this time. Yes, that's right, kids. The emus won the war. Of course, their victory didn't last too long, because after the failed operation, the
government
government put
drones.
out a bounty on the emus, and that worked pretty well. Something like 50,000 bounties ended up being cashed out over 6 months in 1934. So the lesson here, kids, is that if you want to commit mass murder, don't crowdfund, crowdsource. Anyway, till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
So, does anyone have a video for me now? How about you, Marcus? Pink? Love Sam? It was pretty well put together, that one. Best tuber of all time? Let's look at the journey of the beef cow.
Hey kids, do you ever feel like life has passed you by? Does the daily grind leave you feeling trapped in your own life like an animal in a cage? Well, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy some fun facts about livestock while you're at it. Today, I'll be giving a tour of the life, death, and processing of the American beef cattle. Disclaimer, this video is only a basic summary of some common industry practices. No two farms are alike, some are nicer, some are worse. I'm not a shill, please don't get mad at me. Now, in the beginning, there was nothing. And then God said, "Let there be light!" And it was good. Henceforth, you shall be called Craig. At birth, the calf weighs somewhere between 60 and 100 pounds. The males are typically castrated within the first couple of weeks, usually without anesthetic. The main point of this is to keep the steers mellow later in life, but it also stops their male hormones from giving the meat an off taste that the American palate isn't really accustomed to. Anyway, things started off pretty good for Craig. Drinking milk, hanging out, the life. After a while, he figures out you can eat the floor. That's cool. But then, after about 10 months, he gets loaded into the cattle cars. If you're a history buff like me, you know that's not a good sign. Little does Craig know, he's been auctioned off to a feedlot 1,000 miles away. Here, the cattle are packed together like sardines, if sardines were 500-pound terrestrial mammals. The menu consists of random roughage and energy-dense feed like corn so they can pack on the pounds more quickly. Overall, this environment puts a good deal of stress on the beast, which can end up taking a toll on his health. But it's nothing a little visit from the antibiotics fairy can't fix. Once fully grown, Craig gets taken to the packing plant. This is where the magic happens, and by magic, we mean mechanically automated goring into commodities. This is where things get messy, so try to forget that we gave this random animal a name a minute ago. In order to keep things as humane as possible, a worker will first use this device, referred to as a stunner. Here's a demonstration. This renders the beast instantly unconscious, or worse, but potato at this point. Its ankle is then attached to a conveyor rail, which will gently guide the animal along the rest of its journey. First, the cow gets to talk to this man. He's called the sticker. Can you guess what he does? If you said that he gouges out throats for a living, you'd be correct. Over the course of about a minute, the flow goes from torrential downpour to incontinent poodle, by which point our beloved bovine can continue on his way. At the next station, the cow is subjected to high voltage electrical stimulation. Hopefully the nervous system is all out of steam by this point, but if not, the boys on the killing floor will have a great story to tell their wives. Haha, just kidding. The FDA estimates that 93% of meat worker marriages are in shambles. Who knew that 11 hours of pure slaughter every day could desensitize a man? Anyway, electrical stimulation basically works to speed up the onset of rigor mortis. Getting this process out of the way means the meat won't toughen up once it reaches the freezer. Next, the carcass undergoes a thorough power washing. Like the noble mortician, this hose works to make a lifetime of filth disappear. Unfortunately, though beauty is only skin deep, manure runs to the core, so the cow must be disemboweled to prevent contamination later on. And we might as well get rid of all these other gross bits while we're at it. Then the feds stick their nose in things to make sure everything is as it should be. Yup, it's a cow. Finally, we send it down the line, evacuate the spine, bifurcate the hind, reticulate the spline, and power wash it again just for good measure. This whole process from bashing to slashing to splashing takes a mere 15 minutes to complete. That means it takes the same amount of time to process 3 half-ton mammals and 1 scheduled license renewal. Try puzzling that one out. After hanging out in the cooler for a couple days, the beef is broken down into its many cuts: chuck, loin, sirloin, what have you. This is the good stuff. That'll get shipped off as is to barbecues, bar mitzvahs, and bargain bins all across the country. Then you got all these misfit bits hanging out wherever else. Still technically flesh, so we have machines pluck it off, pulp it, and use it to make hamburgers, hot dogs, and the like. Then all the garbage even Americans can't stomach is sent off to the rendering plant to be made into whatever else. So there you have it. I don't really have an outro, except kinda gross, right? Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
Well, thank you for making the video, that's Salmonella. But now we need a video, we need another video, we need another video. Oh, what's animal skeletons?
This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
What can I say? It caught my attention.
Hey kids, as we all know, the evolution of species is an incredible process, driven by little more than the random chance that certain mutations may happen to provide a practical advantage in a creature's environment. And as a result, there's a lot of things out there that look super dumb once you strip back a few layers. Here's the top 10 worst animal skeletons of all time. So first and foremost, I'd like to settle a little debate I've been seeing floating around the past few weeks. Yes, penguins do, in fact, have knees, but in order to hide full-grown legs into one plump cylinder, you gotta have a little skeletal trickery on your side. You guys ever do wall sits in gym class or elsewhere? One of the most torturous exercises out there. I now feel even worse for penguins, because not only did they have to deal with living in a frigid black and white hellscape, the most hostile environment known to man second only to the vacuum of space, all the while constantly pursued by ravenous bloodthirsty sea dogs, but they're also secretly doing wall sits their entire life. Quick side note, in Mandarin, the word for penguin consists of the characters for business goose, which is fucking hilarious. Like one day a goose put on a suit and said, "Today it is time to make a name for myself, honk." This next guy is known as Parsons chameleon, found in the more remote regions of Madagascar. Notice the fleshy protuberances around its nose area. Turns out, not fleshy, not even remotely fleshy, not even one flesh. Instead, it just has a skull forever frozen in time in the middle of exploding, like it sneezed right in the middle of God shaping it out of clay, and he was just like, whatever, it's a feature now. So for that, this rough-headed reptilian gets number 9. Normally I would have ranked it higher, but that's a dope tale, so he gets some pity points. Next is the pufferfish. So for most of my life, I've pictured pufferfish as just not having any bones. I know it doesn't really make sense, but neither does them turning into a balloon like a goddamn cartoon. Turns out, in their normal state, they actually look like this, and when they inflate, those concentric rings of spines slide outwards past one another to cover the full area, like the aperture of a camera lens expanding to cover the full frame of the fish. The sheer ingenuity of this design has shattered my childhood dream of real-life balloon animals, which has earned the pufferfish the number 8 spot on this list. Now, if you've gotten around to certain zoological circles, you've been shown this skull and been told, yes, that comes from the dwarf elephant. Oh, you've never seen one? That's because, they're extinct. And that thing in the middle? Yes, nothing more than the nose hole to which the trunk connects. However, if you're a rational, free-thinking adult like me, you can look past the lies spoon-fed to you by Nat Geo and other liberal media outlets and see this for what it is. A cyclops. Next is the orca, otherwise known as the killer whale, the panda torpedo, or the SeaWorld slave. Its skeleton is fairly normal at first glance, but check out this little thing under here. That little bony blip is actually all that remains of the legs and pelvis of the orca from when it evolved from land mammals. Personally, I think that's highly disrespectful to their ancestors. Like, they could have taken the seal route and used those legs for good in the water, but instead these sea cowards said, no thanks, we're gonna undo all that evolution and just be bigger, smarter, warmer fish again. But hey, we'll keep this little piece of nothing just to remember you guys by. Truthfully, I could have chosen almost any cetacean to pick on for this, but the orca's face also reminds me of SCP-682, which is the most OP overrated shit out there, so he gets the number 6 spot. Moving on, now bear with me here. In every other mammal on Earth, the canine teeth point downward from the gum to the mouth. You know, like a tooth. But this guy, known as the Babirusa, said, "Huh," and decided to have them grow up through the entirety of its fucking snoot and out the other end, which is the most nonsensical thing I've ever seen. Like, toenails out the front? How cliche. Let's make them go through the whole foot instead. Look, now I can kick good behind me. That's not all though. These tusks also keep growing for the creature's entire life, which isn't a problem in and of itself, right? Rodents, they keep chewing stuff to wear them down. Alligators, they just let them fall out now and then. But the Babirusa's like, I'll just nut in a lady pig long before this becomes an
issue. So if it lives long enough, the teeth can curve right on around and slowly bore into the thing's face, like built-in Chinese bamboo torture. And occasionally, they can end up actually piercing the skull and shish kebabbing the brain. Now, some people might say that this doesn't belong on this list, given that teeth aren't technically bones. And to those people, kids, we say, eat shit and die. Next, we have the octopus. The octopus skeleton is so bad that it doesn't even exist. Sure, they got this little thing in the middle, but that doesn't count, that's just chitin. And yeah, they can get in a jar or whatever, but at what cost? At the animal picnics, the crowd shouts, "Bleh, shun the spineless freak." And at the animal wheelbarrow races, with nothing to grab hold of, the cephalopod holds a solitary vigil at the starting line. And lo, the octopus wins naught but a participant medal at the Grand Prix, and the number 4 spot on this list. Moving on, here's the skeleton of a fruit bat. Now, not a big deal to us regular folk, but imagine if humans had no context of bats and they dug this thing up. Like, class, archaeologists have recently found these fossilized remains, and using modern technology, we can see exactly what it would have looked like back when it was alive. This abominable creature is known only to scientists as Finger Boy, and is theorized to have fed upon fruit, insects, and the dreams of orphans, which it would siphon out from the ears of the errant little waifs whilst they slumbered. By the way, if you Google image bat skeleton, like, more than half of them have the ears built in, just like, I feel the extraordinarily bat-like wings and figure of our decoration are much too subtle for our consumers. Better slap these on. At number 2, we have the anteater. From its oboe-like skull to its gorilla fist and hands, one can only wonder who let this creature exist. Fun fact, if you take the anteater's skull and blow into its nose, it plays a beautiful song recounting the animal's entire life, and then security escorts you out of the museum. Looking at this, I can only pose the question asked for generations long before my own. That being, why the long face? Before we get to the number 1 spot, here's a few honorable mentions. The wolf eel. The ostrich. This human-cat hybrid I found on a tabloid site.
Wait, what?
And of course, the mermaid. So at our number 1 spot, we have this creature. That's supposed to be a mirror. I know most of you can't see yourself in it on account of your filthy Dorito smeared screen, so just take my word for it. So what's wrong with humans, you ask? Well, a lot of things, but for now let's stick to the skeleton. First off, these bones right here, these are known as the metatarsals. All part of the foot, right? No, that's a bunch of primate propaganda. In most other groups of land mammals, what we'd consider our ankles is actually the quote-unquote knee of the animal. Thanks a lot, walking upright. Also, it's estimated that around 80% of people will experience chronic back pain at some point in their life. Thanks a lot, walking upright. Lastly, probably something you've heard about at some point, our skull to pelvis ratio. For most animals, giving birth, not a big deal. Small heads, wide hips, mazel tov. But check out the big brain on Brett. Throws a real monkey wrench in the works there. For a while it led to some problems till those extra brains figured out how to work around it, so I guess you win this round, humans. But that doesn't stop you from also winning the number 1 spot on the worst skeletons of all time. But hey, just cause you'll forever be flawed on the inside, doesn't mean you can't improve yourself on the outside. That's why you need to try Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with over 25,000 classes in design, business, technology, and more. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on must-know topics, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. For all my life, I thought I knew how to make a grilled cheese. Then I saw this class, and I realized I didn't. Now I do again, but those few minutes between seeing the thumbnail and finishing the course were a dark time in my life. But let's say you don't like grilled cheese. Well, you must be either vegan or dead, and either way, you probably smell terrible. What better way to soak up that earthy must in your home than with a hand-selected houseplant known to improve air quality? You can even put googly eyes on it. Aw, it's like I have a friend. Join the more than 7 million people already learning on Skillshare today with a special offer just for my viewers. Everyone who visits the link in the description can get 2 months of unlimited access to the 25,000 plus classes on Skillshare for absolutely free. So please, put down that bone broth and start sipping some brain juice today. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and I'm still scared of swine flu.
Understandable. Can't help it. Folklore is too interesting to me.
Hey kids, from clubbing seals to inventing new compound nouns for snow, nobody knows how to kick it quite like the Inuit. Of course, if you're a close-minded tree dweller like me, you might initially think that they can't be that good at storytelling, given that they only know about like 6 things. But that's not true. They've actually got an incredibly complex and fascinating oral tradition. You could ask one about it, there's plenty of these guys around today, but they've got Jesus and microwaves and shit, and that's boring. We want to talk about the stuff from before missionaries came and sent their miserable way of life to a farm upstate. So instead, let a 20-year-old college kid who's never lived outside of Delaware tell you all about it. Obvious disclaimer, Inuits are super diverse. Calling a caribou Inuit a copper Inuit is like calling a copper caribou a caribou caribou. Sure, they both look the same from far away, but when a thunderstorm hits, you better know which one to hide under. As such, while most of the following can be applied in broad terms to most Inuits, the little details come from a variety of subcultures that don't necessarily represent the whole. Got it? Swank. Now, a lot of the world's faiths are centered around bringing people together and inspiring them with stories and images of the divine, so as to give them a wider sense of purpose here on Earth. That's all well and good, but that whole search for greater meaning thing only really comes into play once your original purpose of making sure you don't die is pretty much figured out. Not so for the Inuit. You see, it ain't so easy living in a place where plants can't grow and being naked for an hour means certain death. As such, their beliefs were a little more practical, being more so geared towards fostering the paranoid levels of fear required to survive in such a hostile environment. For example, the Inuit believed that everyone has a sort of life force or soul, what they called a nirnik, and like plenty of religions, they believed it lived on after death and could meddle in the world of mortals. But while most cultures regard animals as being spiritually inferior meat puppets, to the Inuits, a creature's soul is just as powerful and vengeful as that of a person. And like I said, up there in the Arctic, not much greenery in the scenery, so they basically had no choice but to devour nothing but souls every single day. And wouldn't you know it, souls don't much care for getting ate. So the Inuit made sure to follow a complex set of guidelines on how to placate their prey in the afterlife, lest the pissed off ghost of that Arctic tern whispers sweet nothings into a polar bear's ears and turns your whole village into a big Japanese flag by sunrise. Here's a few. If you kill something, make sure you eat it all. Just as an American who doesn't clean his plate doesn't get dessert, an Inuit who doesn't eat all his walrus doesn't get any more walrus. Ever. Till they starve. If you kill a polar bear, make sure to point its head towards the direction it came from so it can find its way home more easily. If you pull a seal out of the water, give him some fresh water so he's not thirsty when you bash his brain in. Also, its spirit lives in its bladder, so make sure to hold on to it until the yearly bladder festival, where everyone gets together, blows up their bladders like balloons, and throws them out to sea so they can reincarnate into new seals. These taboos aren't all just about hunting though. For some reason there's a load of them about pregnancy. Don't make fun of people's facial features or else the baby will have the same features. Don't walk backwards or else the baby will come out backwards. Dangerous. Face your bed towards a doorway or it'll come out sideways. Also dangerous. Don't wrap rope around your hand or it'll come out with the umbilical cord around its neck. Extremely dangerous. Don't drink directly from a soup bowl or it'll come out with dark skin. Not touching that one. Don't put a bowl on your head or else it'll be wearing the placenta like a hat. Too hilarious. And the list goes on. Central to the consequences of breaking a lot of these rules is the being known as Sedna. The story behind Sedna varies pretty wildly between different groups of Inuits, but here's the gist of it. She was once a young girl who pissed everyone off, either by being annoying or eating too much food or rejecting an arranged marriage or marrying a dog for some reason. So her father throws her out of a kayak, and when she tries to get back in, he chops off all her fingers. The sea goddess sees this, furrows her long floppy seaweed brow, does a sassy snap, and the girl turns into an immortal sea witch, while her disembodied fingers turn into the first seals. And to this day, Sedna sits at the bottom of the ocean, growing new fingers which promptly fall off and turn into all the world's seal lions and narwhalruses. That is until someone goofs up in some small arbitrary fashion like, "Yo Sedna, bad news, I just caught a guy chewing a piece of blubber. What's wrong with that?" Well, he wasn't looking north while he did it. Are you fucking kidding me? In his defense, he was standing right on the pole, so he literally couldn't look anywhere but south. He could have moved! That's it! No more fingy foods for 3 moons! Another fun creation myth is how the moon and sun came to be. So long ago, there were these 2 siblings named Melina and Aningen. The 2 got along just fine as kids, but as the 2 got older, they were put into their respective genders' living areas and saw each other less and less. Then one day, Aningen got the feeling that his lower nose was in dire need of some Eskimo kisses. So that night, he snuck into the women's lodges, saw his sister, thought, I pick that one, and proceeded to do, unspeakable things, technically becoming his own Eskimo brother. But it was too dark at the time for Melina to tell what happened. The next night, Ningin's like,
I'll fucking do it again.
Only this time, Melina smears soot all over his face. So later she goes over to the men's lodges, and who has crap all over his face but her brother? This makes her so mad that she cuts off her own breasts with a knife, puts them in a bowl, throws them at a Ningen, and says, if you enjoy me so much, then here, eat them. Go ahead, eat my disembodied, quivering titties. She runs off into the night with a torch, and Ningen is really remorseful or horny or something, so he chases after her with his own torch, and they end up running so fast that they took off like a plane into the sky, and Melina became the sun while Ningen became the moon. Excuse me, Mrs. Elder, if the sun and moon didn't exist yet, how did he do that stuff at night when there was no night? Now, some details of the story are tied into real-world phenomena. Some say that Ningen tripped and messed up his torch, which is why the moon is so dim. And the moon cycles are because he gets really skinny from chasing after her for so long. And the new moon is when he goes away for a few days to hunt seals so he can fatten back up. But here's the kicker. Nobody ever explains what the whole lopping off her tits part was supposed to represent. That's entirely just creative liberty. Just like, yes, that's why the sun doesn't have tits. Probably for the best it doesn't, otherwise half the population will be blind by now, and worse, it's the half that makes up 85% of my viewer base. So you know what? Thanks for slicing and dicing them tea towels, Melina. I kinda owe you my career. But as for you, your eyes are valuable. You should treat them to something more substantial and informative. Like, say, a library of high-quality exclusive documentaries. Sponsor time. Curiosity Stream was founded by the dude behind the Discovery Channel, and it's great for someone like me who horks down any useless knowledge he sees, like the brave gators keeping America's sewers free of rats. And with thousands of titles, a lot of which are Curiosity Stream exclusives, it's hard not to find something that interests you. Here's a gem I watched recently. The Kingdom, How Fungi Made Our World. Mushrooms are honestly like if you told aliens about Earth and they tried their best to recreate what they thought plants were. Real wild stuff. You can try Curiosity Stream for absolutely free if you sign up at curiositystream.com/salmonella and use promo code salmonella during the sign up process. Also, signing up for a year of Curiosity Stream will now give you Nebula for free. What's Nebula? Glad I asked. A bunch of independent creators that I may or may not associate with in some way decided to start their own streaming service, completely free of ads and full of content that can't be seen anywhere else. I hardly make content for my own channel,
Thank you.
That was actually very fire. I quite enjoyed that. I didn't expect to enjoy that as much as I did, but yeah, I did. Thank you for that, Jade. I really do appreciate that. Now let's put that one underneath. And turn its transparency down a bit. Yeah, that was surprisingly a lot better than I was expecting it to be. Yeah. What do you reckon? Do we have one more in us, or should we stop it there? What do you think, guys? Come on. Should we do one more, or should we say goodnight until tomorrow? Just the question at hand, I guess. But yeah, that was really fire. How the punching at the window kept the beat. It was like, yes, perfect little metronome. That. Yeah. Well, I guess since no one's come up with any suggestions or anything, I shall see if we can't find someone to do a little raid of. And I've found someone to raid already.
Hello?
Oh, okay.
I said you don't get to chew on the tail.
This one had caught my attention, because they were drawing booba. But it's okay. We can.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
We can do Harlem BT instead.
Same thing.
I mean, could you blame me? Look at the booba there. That's what caught my attention. It's just like, booba.
These form an orderly line for tail chewing.
I like the toe children on the far side of the screen. That's fantastic. I love it. No, we gotta rate this individual. Look at the toe children. Wait, let me move to the side.
Does that taste good?
That's just great. I love that. I really do. So let's get the raid message going.
I wish it tasted
I may have finished the cherry blossom tree by tomorrow. I don't know yet, but who knows? So we go. Flame.
Same up top.
Pyrussy because they're sassy. I'm sassy.
I miss my long hair.
And rock. Copy. Paste. Paste. Here's the raid message, guys. thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Goodbye and good night to you as well, Jay. I hope you have a fantastic Friday night and that I see you again tomorrow for Saturday. Sadistic
I debate
Saturday.
cutting mine, but don't remember I want ultimate control over it when HRT is done. So.
And a reminder that my Monday stream won't be happening on Monday anymore for the next 5 weeks because dentist appointments.
Because, you know,
it is what it
broke
is.
living out of my car.
I seriously love the toe thing that they have going on at the edge of their screen. I want something like that so bad now. It's adorable. And this guy knows how to draw thighs and butts. I mean, look at that. Mwah. Wish I was that good at line art.
Theory? That's
oh, maybe I
that's
should
how
move
like, learned
my
to draw hands
thing
and
so
feet.
you guys can see what
Unfortunately,
they
my hands and
look
feet are a
like.
little bit mangled.
There we
so
go.
My hands look a little bit funny.
So I'm going to do a quick little cheeky and switch the reaction around to art because, well, in a lot of ways, I was doing art all along as well. But yeah, the way he's got the thigh bulge and all of that is beautiful, and I love the toesies. So yeah, that's why I gotta rate them. I hope you guys can understand.
Wait, hair theory doesn't mean copying your own hair for art?
TARGOESH. Ah, there they are.
Honestly, that's
yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me
mind
today through Fable and then through the art. I really do appreciate it. I had a ball. I always do with you guys.
Thank you for validating me.
Yeah. I'm Pyra Z, your little fireflower, and I shall see you guys tomorrow for Sadistic Saturday. But until then, let's raid, motherfuckers. Let's raid! Yeah!
Oh, thank you for the raid, Pirates. Then on my bot